Boom. And we should be doing one of these.
One of these.
I got all these buttons. Brad Beam, the pizza god, the house.
Good to see you, brother.
Look at this.
Hey, I couldn't show up empty-handed.
This is perfect. We've covered a few things since you came in. I told you this is perfect timing because the wife is out of town.
Yep.
And I'm no food here. No. So except for the sauce she made, babe.
Yeah.
Brad Beam. Yeah. What a treat Chenzo. This is going to be for those that don't know this beautiful gentleman. Not only did we grow up together, but I was just telling you, and I'm going to have to reiterate it. This man has taken control of the pizza world.
That's right.
And you are what I'm so proud of you that I was just saying to you before we went live that the workforce today, right, is just so everybody wants the coolest job, the this, the that, and everything. They're almost like their job is not good enough yet. It's always the next best thing.
Yeah,
dude, you own your job.
Thanks, man.
Your product is phenomenal, and your photos, and I'm just proud of you that you're owning it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for those that are listening, he's grew up here. We're gonna get into your backstory, which I don't even know. But you're cool with getting into.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And father.
Yep, my father.
No, you're a father.
Yeah, I'm a father now. Yeah, father 4 months, 4.5 months. Yeah.
Husband.
Yep, husband, my beautiful wife,
and one of my besties.
Yeah, man.
So, Brad, we leave off. We graduated in 2002.
You 2002, me 2003.
You were below that? I never knew that. We were always. I thought we were.
Yeah, we were all.
Yeah. Okay,
we were all. That whole group of us was all like
group
within a year apart of each other. But
so we graduate, we go our separate ways. Let's take it from there because a lot of my listeners love alumni.
Yeah.
So want to just take it from there?
Absolutely.
Let's do it, bro.
I pretty much graduated high school. I stayed put, Palm Coast, and really just went. I was doing a few different like jobs, things like that. I did like new construction plumbing for a while, but really just stayed local. Then probably when I was probably about 19, 20 is where the whole pizza thing started happening as far as pizza goes. And that it was actually funny because now I'm at Joe's New York Pizza now in Palm Coast. And back then when I was about 20 and I was working at Joe's. So it's 14 years ago. I started working there. Yeah,
that's where it started.
It's so funny how it all came full circle. So I started there back when I was about 20, and I was a server there. And at first I started as a delivery driver. I was a delivery driver first. Worked for Mike and Joey, and then Mike liked my personality and everything like that. And he was like, "Oh, I want to make you a server." So I became a server there. And I remember that's what was funny about the whole pizza thing because it's never something that I always grew up in cooking. My family was Italian, so I always grew up around it, but it wasn't anything that I was like, oh, let me decide to start making pizza. I'll never forget one night, it was like a Friday, and Joey was in the back. He was he was the pizza guy. Mike always loved running the business. Mm-hmm. Joey always loved making the pizza. So Joey's back there, he's making his pies, and I'm watching him. And I always used to watch him. I was always just fascinated by how it all worked. So I just watched him a bunch. I would always watch him every day. And there's one Friday, one of the guys called out or didn't show up who was supposed to help him. We call it in the business, we call it slapping out. And all it is a guy, you got your guy making pizzas and then you got a guy that's just sitting there and he's basically forming your crust. Okay. So he starts pushing the dough out, the air to the crust, starts forming and then passes down. So it saves you about 30 seconds, but it helps a lot, especially on busy nights. So Joey, is this guy called out. So, he was stressed and,
his assistant duty.
Yeah. His assistant guy or that, that would slap out for him. He called out. And I remember I said to him, I was like, Joey, you want me to, give you a hand? And he was like, we've never done it. Or he's like, have you ever done it before? And I was like, well, no, but I've watched you, a lot. And he was like, I mean, you can try one, he's like, I guess it doesn't hurt to try. So I formed one just like how I'd watch him form it. Excuse me. Pass it down to him. And he looks and he was like, you did that? And I said, yeah. I'll never forget. He looks at the girl at the counter and he's like, so-and-so, you got to cover his tables. He's back here with me. And he just let me back there with him. And I remember just, doing that all night with him. And it was just one of those things that was just like so random, but like cool. I was like, oh, this is fun, Right
time, right place.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what happened with it. Passed it down. I was there for a little while, but I never still did pizza, but it was just something that I like enjoyed, pre-stretching for him, stuff like that. And then I parted ways with them. I ended up starting at Mezzaluna in the European Village. And then I worked there. And when I started working there was when I met one of my good friends, Lee Hunsinger. He's actually out in Texas now doing just crazy, beautiful work out there. But I met him. He'd
in
been
the culinary world.
Yeah, with pizza. Like this guy is just, I mean, he's absolutely, blows my mind still to this day, the stuff that he does. Nice. And we still keep in touch a lot. One of my good friends, and Lee had been making pizza since he was like 13 years old in like his parents', restaurant and stuff like that. So he started actually like showing me the ropes.
So he was like your sensei.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. So he started showing me the actual ropes of the whole pizza industry. Because he was the one who told me, he's like, I see something in you, you got a knack for it. And I obviously knew what he was talking about, between him and Joey told me that, these guys have been doing it for many years. So I was like, this would be something cool to start doing, getting into. And then I really started seeing the, like the creative side of it from Lee, as far as like the stuff he was doing, the things he would make, I was just like, would blow my mind. I'm like, I didn't even realize you could put that on a pizza.
Right.
But at that time, I was still like, I always joke about it nowadays, but at that time I was like a punk kid, I was 20 years old, 21 years old, working a lot of hours. I was working, 70 hours a week, started doing it. And at the time I really didn't even care about I cared about the actual creative side of it, but not that much. I was like, I want to do tricks and toss and this and that, because I started watching YouTube videos of these guys out, these famous guys in the pizza industry, and I'm like, I want to do that. So that's what I was focused on. I still loved making pizzas, and I still, but I never.
It was still kind of a job.
Yeah, exactly. It was still a job at that time. And then I started, toying with, I started working a lot of hours. So I started messing around, doing different drugs, things like that, through high school, stuff like that. I would smoke pot, whatever, everybody pretty much did. So it wasn't, anything crazy like that, but I never got into anything else. Right. And then I started doing, I would do cocaine here and there.
So this is the dark, like this is where the dark,
this is where like the dark part of
we're kind of we've all, as we were growing up, we all kind of lost touch anyways, because everyone's in schools and we're like figuring life out.
Yeah.
I don't have any communication with you at this point, nor do I with most people. What's a timestamp? Give me a timestamp for the people that we grew up like. Where?
So this was
ish, because I'm getting really bad with it.
Well, anyways, we're 34. I'm 34 now, so I was 21, 22 at the time. Okay. I'm just going out. I'm going to work.
You're just dark moding it.
Yeah, I'm going to work, and really what it was is I was going to work. Working a lot, making good money. So then afterwards, I was like, hey, I want to go out and party. So we'd go. I'd go out to bars. Things like that.
Where were we going back then? Were you?
I'd go to Europa.
Europa?
Yeah, Europa. That was the only
Ambrose just getting going.
Yeah, that was
well, you were like right there.
Right there, exactly. Right. So it was so convenient that I could literally just walk next door. Because those nights, it was so crazy.
I remember those nights.
Especially at Mezzaluna, like it was so busy all the time. Like it was nonstop.
Well, it was just getting going.
They had been open for maybe a year at the time. So it was just nonstop every night, man. I mean, we're cranking out pizza after pizza after pizza. So it was like, we'd get out of work by the time we're doing our prep, we'd get out midnight, sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning. So we'd go next door, have drinks. And with me, it was always I would leave, after drinking all night, I would leave, I'd go, with a few people and party and stuff like that afterwards, like I said, do, cocaine, things like that. But never really got to where I got too dark with that. It was one of those things that I only really did when I drank. Okay. Sometimes
it was recreational. It wasn't dependency.
Yeah, like some of those times, don't get me wrong, there was times where, I was drinking, a couple nights a week, but it was one of those things that never, turned into anything too crazy.
Didn't own you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then it wasn't until I was about 20, I think it was about 24. So it was about 10 years ago. Is then I got introduced to like painkillers, like on another level, like Oxycontin painkillers, and I started doing those. And the thing is, with me, with what I would work, it made me feel like Superman. And nobody could tell. I'd do one, whatever. I'd take a pill and
so you were functioning completely fine. Were you like closet about this?
Yeah. No one knew. Only a few people knew. The only people that knew were the people that would get it from.
I love that you're sharing this too, by the way. I love this so much.
I'm not,
So you like 24ish, 25ish, now we're closet.
I started doing it, here and there. I would take it, on busy nights, things like that. And then it happened quickly. About 6 months into me, like taking my first oxy.
Is it so slippery slope, huh? It's that fast?
I feel like everybody's different, because I met a lot of people back then, man, that, I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And they would try it and they'd be like, nah, that's not for me, you know? And so everybody's different, I think, when it comes to things like that, you know?
But 6 months and you're
6 months I started spiraling like quick. And then it started getting to the point where, you know, taking one every couple days. And now I was taking 2-3 a day. Within a year and a half of doing it, now it's to the point where I'm taking probably 6-7 a day, somewhere around that. Yeah. And it's that time frame. It's hard for me to
even recollect because it
became such a blur, you know. It's just like I remember things that I was doing, but then there's times that I don't. I just remember towards the end is when it got to be the things I was doing was just, you know, my family knew. They weren't stupid. They knew. They would try to, you know, talk to me about it, help me through it. You know, I was just denial all the time. Right. You know, nobody wants to sit there and be like, yeah, I'll admit, well, I'm sure struggling
on that, where the common denominator is like fiscally, you're probably, your bank account's hemorrhaging.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
So you're noticing
the money I was making a week was literally just enough to be able to. I would barely be able to, you know, pay my rent or pay my, you know, at the time I didn't have a car payment because my car was paid off.
Right.
But you know, I basically pay my rent, be able to get myself like a pack of cigarettes, things like that, some food, and that was it. And I just would always put the rest towards bills, and that was it.
Damn. Dude.
Yeah.
So were you? This is really fascinating for me because I hope that this segment and this part of the show in general helps people out that are suffering with this,
absolutely,
or know someone suffering from it. Were you like F the world, don't talk with me?
Yeah. Oh my God.
No one could, like, if I was in your space at this point, and you were in it and I knew it and I tried to talk to you about it, were you just like,
no, just get away,
get off me, I'm in this?
And my thing too is I would always deny it. That was,
you weren't even like,
no, the only people that knew were people that I was partying with, you know what I mean? But
so when you were accused from a buddy or family,
and
you were straight.
No, I'm like,
how was your physical appearance then? Were you like,
well, it's, you know, it's sad is it's like, you know, at the time when you're going through these things and you're so consumed in it, when it just becomes your life,
right?
You think that nobody knows anything, you know, you're like, dude, nobody knows, you know. I can tell you now, I am 200 and I just weighed myself yesterday, 221 pounds.
Okay.
At my lowest point, which was the day I went and got clean, which I'll touch on that. But I was at a doctor's office. I went to a doctor's office to seek help, and he weighed me, and I was 167 pounds.
And you're like a 6'4", 6'3".
So you think 6'3", 167 pounds, that's a skinny, you know. And at the time, I'm not thinking of it because I was always a skinny guy growing up. It was never like I was, you know, had weight on me or anything like that, because I used to try to put on weight before I ever, you know, got into drugs or anything like that. But yeah, just everything, like skin color, you know, always pale, like just, you know.
But you're not aware of it.
No,
from the inside out,
just,
you're seeing yourself, but you're like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm so consumed in everything that I'm doing that I'm not, you know.
Were you ever at a point, because this is fascinating to me, were you ever at a point where there was sobriety, or were you from the last time you took a pill to the next, were you just in a constant state?
There was, the longest I had went was about, I want to say it was like 3-4 months at one point.
Whoa, that's big.
But what's sad about it is I don't even remember that. I remember it, but I don't remember. I just remember, like, at the time I was upset with myself because I had went a couple months without doing the pills. Now I was still partying. I would still, you know, drink. I would still smoke, things like that. But I never.
What made you stop for the 3-4?
I think it was because I started getting that first time I had ever done something where I woke up in the morning, I had to do it in order to feel normal, to not feel back pain, to not feel like flu-like symptoms. When people say like the withdrawals are flu-like symptoms, it's no joke. It's, you wake up and if you're not, you know, popping something right away, you're going to start feeling like crap pretty soon.
So you had at least the consciousness to say, yo, B, stop.
Yeah. And that was when I like I said, 6 months in, it started going pretty quickly. But then after that, like, it got to the point where I think I probably went about a year and a half when I finally was like, all right, I need to chill out for a little while on the pills, this and that, got myself off of them. And I can't even tell you, man, what got me back on them.
Just like that one party.
Yeah. And I do remember it was like, you know, you tell yourself, I'll just do one tonight. You know, I haven't done it in 3 months. I'm good. And I do. And then next thing you know, the next day, then you get more, and the next day you get more. And then, and a lot of people don't realize, I remember not researching, but finding this out, reading articles years ago, that all it takes is like 3 days or something like that to get hooked on something like that, like multiple days in a row.
I see what you're saying.
And then all of a sudden, then it's chemically like, maybe not as bad of withdrawals, but your body's going to feel something different. And that's what happened with me. And it's just,
was it one particular thing you were hovering on, like one type of pill? Like
it was like the Roxycontin or Roxycodone.
Is that that's like a?
So it's like it was at the time heroin? It was like no, absolutely, okay, 100%.
So it's an opioid kind of.
Yeah, it was a 100% opioid.
You weren't playing around with other stuff. That was just like was your go-to.
And even that was just the only thing. It was one of those things I sit there now and like kind of laugh at it, because I'm like, I remember judging other people that were doing stuff like, instead of them eating a pill, they were doing the exact same pill, but they were injecting it or whatever. And I'm going, oh man, that's bad. I know I'm doing, but that's bad. And I look at it now, I'm like, what are you, an idiot? You're doing the exact same thing. Like, maybe it's not to the same level. Exactly. And that's all it boils down to. You're just rationalizing what you're doing is not as bad as other people and stuff like that. So, fast forward a few more years, and it was just like, I changed jobs, and it was just the things I was doing just wasn't good. I didn't care about anybody else but myself. Did you feel super? Where was Brad? In addition, I mean, life was going on at 1,000,000 miles an hour too. Like, did you feel completely isolated, island-based 100%. Mentality? We would get together, like family would get together and stuff like that. But
you have a beautiful family too, so I would imagine
100%. Yeah, and that at the time, my brother and I were living together, so my mom owned the house that we were renting.
I bet your brother was trying to kick your 100%, ass.
Absolutely. And he knew, he wasn't an idiot, and that's what he used to hear me come home at 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning when he was sleeping for work the next day. And, he used to try to, talk to my mom, especially, and, family, and say, listen, something's wrong. We gotta get this, figured out. But no matter what, every time they'd come to me, I would always deny it. And it's like, you get to that point where there's only so much anybody can do if you're not willing to help yourself, and at that time I just wasn't.
Was your job suffering? I'm sure your bank account's suffering, your health is suffering, your relationships are suffering. Were you coexisting work wise, or was that were you going to work?
I would say that I, wasn't necessarily.
I'm sure you were an outstanding employee.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but like, I still, because
were there.
The energy it gave me, I would still, crank out pizzas, things like that. I definitely wasn't the best employee. I definitely would, get in a,
you were slapping.
Yeah, exactly. I would slip up. I would do stupid things. And then what happened is I remember then I was working over at Nikki's Pizza, which I don't know if Matt Longewe's mom, Joanne, and her good friend, they had owned that. That was right over there in
the original.
Yeah,
what was that? La Bella Benvenuto's.
Well, Benvenuto's was back in the day. It was right by there.
Yes.
But Joseph Bistro, those.
So you were there for a stint.
So I was there.
Was that at your like apex?
And that was when I was like at my worst. And Joanne, I grew up with Matt.
Yeah.
We all grew up together. So Joanne was like an aunt to me. So she,
she's no dummy.
She saw it too. Everybody saw it. And man, I'll tell you, it got to a point where I remember I started researching, different. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I just remember like I got to a point where I was like kind of looking in the mirror, and I was just like, man, something's got to change. Like, and I can't keep living like this. But it was that thing, like, I got the good idea in my head, but am I going to actually capitalize on it? And I remember I started researching like different doctors to go to, things like that, because it was like, well, I don't want to go to rehab, but I wanted, at the time, you could go and get put on Suboxone to cope with the withdrawals, things like that. But then as I'm researching, I'm finding out from people that there's crooked doctors just as bad with the Suboxone.
They're trying to get you on that.
Yeah, and then I was talking to people that are on Suboxone for 2 years, and it's like, you shouldn't be on it for 2 years. You got to get weaned off, and it's just a paycheck to some of these doctors. Are going in there and here's your script, leave this and that. So I was really trying to research. And I found one in Palm Coast, a local guy who was like a family doctor as well, but also specialized in opiate addiction, things like that. So I started, researching it. But the thing was, I even called and was like, hey, what's the process of it? Well, you come in, your first appointment's X amount of dollars. And then after that, it's every appointment is X amount
of
dollars.
This is no insurance, I would imagine, right?
Exactly. So my thing is, I remember when it happened and I go, well, shit, I don't have the money for that. Right. So I can't now. If the only way I could get the money is if I'd like go to my family, but then I'd have to admit that have an addiction, this and that. So I started. So then that's where I'm wrestling in my head. I'm like, well, I don't want to admit it. I've been telling everybody for this long that I'm not addicted.
Give me a rough approximate of how many.
So now I'm 26 at the time.
So about 2 years.
Yeah. So it was May. When this started happening, it was around like March or April of 2011. And I was 26 at the time. So yeah, so I'd been hardcore on this stuff for about 2 years. And like I said, at that time, it was just like blur. It was just going and not even realizing, it was just basically getting by. So fast forward, I'll never forget. My mom had called and said, hey, why don't you come by the house? One day, we got family over, this and that. So I went by there and I'm over there and talking to, I walk in and my whole family's there. So I'm like, all right, I know what's going on here, got intervention time. So, we go in my mom's room and I'm sitting down on a chair, my brothers, my sister, cause I'm one of four. So I'm the youngest of four. So my siblings are all there. Everybody's there. And they're talking to me and they're saying, listen, we know something's wrong. We know you're on something. We're here. We want to help you. We want to, help you get through this. So, I'm denial. Still? Even it's just, and it's one of those things that I think, I think back on it now and I think you just get so caught up in lying that it becomes just part of your life and you're just so used to doing it.
Were you an angry liar? Were you like, I'm not, or were you almost like wanting to give up?
Sometimes I would lie very easily and not even think twice about it. But then when I would get caught in my own lies, then that's when I would get defensive because and that's what it is. You're trying to keep
your brother's no dummy.
No,
I can see your brother like, bro.
None of my family are like.
No, I know, but I know your brother well enough to know
exactly. And and it's just, but it's one of those things that it's like you get so caught up, and then you're trying to remember what lies you told who.
Just all types of messed up.
It's just So they, kept going. We're going at this for like an hour and a half. My one brother was like, they had a drug test, like a home drug test, and they're like, hey, pee in this. So my oldest brother's like, pee in it. I'm like, nah, man. I said, I can't right now. I can't use the bathroom right now. He's like, no worry, we got plenty of time. We'll wait until you're ready, So it was going back and forth like that.
Are you hand and face yet at that point?
No, I'm just basically sitting there, arms crossed, just like
little jerky.
Yeah, just like now. They leave the room. They all leave the room, and it's starting to get late, So it's not late, but I mean, it's been about an hour and a half that we're going at this. They go in the other room, man, and I tell people to this day, this is where like my faith really starts to kick in because I'm sitting there. And it was the first time at this point, really not even just with pills, but just drugs in general. It's first point I'm 26 at the time, so in 6 years that I went in there by myself, and I just felt this peace come over me. I felt calm because when you're lying all the time, you're always have anxiety. It never stops until you're actually sleeping. It never stops. And heart wasn't beating fast, calm as could be, just felt this calm come over me. And I'm just like, I remember hearing a voice in my head just saying, just take the help. This is your chance. Like, don't pass it up, take the help. So I said, okay. So I called my family back in and I tell them everything. I'm like, listen, you're right. And I just start going, I'm like, I need help. I broke down. And they did, man. They were like, absolutely, we'll do whatever we got to do. That was on a Friday. I remember then that Monday, went to this doctor. My mom, my dad, they came with me. My dad was at every appointment with me, and they're putting up the money for me for the appointment, for me to pay them back, but just putting it up so I could get there. And they're there 100% supporting me the whole way, and that's one of those things I tell people now. I'm like, man, I'm so fortunate that I have a family the way that I do, because without them, I never would have been able to do it.
Right.
Dude, and it's just powerful, I look at it now and I'm 34 years old, been clean for 8 years. I celebrated my 8 years clean in May. And now it's just like, now everything just started. And it was like that first year is really rough. I started going to this doctor. I was, on Suboxone, but within 8 months, he had me weaned off completely. I wasn't on anything. And then it was just picking up the pieces, it's one of those things that I always explain to people now. I'm like, listen, I know when you start going through this, it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, because when I first got clean, it seemed like it was going to take me forever.
What were those beginning steps like, bro? Where it was, were you, if there was a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, were you, how bad, like, you know what I mean? Like
on a mental level, I was at like probably like an 8 or 9, when I first got clean. I was happy that I was getting clean, but it's one of those things that you're sitting there going, now you're starting to live with regret. You're going, well, why did I even do that? Why did I do this?
Money.
Why did I do that? Exactly. You start looking back on everything. Well, if I didn't do this, I'd be here right now. If I didn't.
Right.
And it got to a point where I just had to really just sit there, and I started going to church. I was going to say,
did you do in parallel with your health, getting your health rectified? Were you also seeking mental?
Yeah, like I wasn't. What was nice is this doctor I was going to. He was doing once a week appointments, but the guy was great because he was also basically counseling you at the same time. So he would sit down and he'd be like, okay, so listen, what are your goals in your life? What do you want to do? And he would write them down, and he would, which was awesome. It wasn't like I would just go in and he'd say, okay, how you doing? All right, here you go. We'll knock you down this much next time. So he really helped me with that. But I started going to church, getting involved in a church locally. And, I started, I ended up meeting the pastor of the church, after being there for a few months, and just started really getting involved with that. And started, I talked to people, but still, at that time I was still very iffy about my story. The only people I would really talk to about my story was my family, and because it was just one of those things that
how did you handle it? Because I wasn't in your spacious at that point. How did you handle it? Because I never got wind of any of this, which is a good thing. So you must have did a pretty good damn job at keeping it. It wasn't like some of the other stories we've heard that people have gone through messes.
Right.
It wasn't like, yo, did you hear what's up with Brad? So what would you do in the event? You did bump. Were you totally isolating where you weren't even grabbing like a cocktail once in a while now?
No, I didn't even drink alcohol until almost, I think, like 10 months clean.
So you weren't bumping into
I wasn't even
the dark side anyways.
I was get off of work. I'd go into work. I'd work. Joanne was one of the only ones that knew outside of my family, because obviously being an employer, I went and sat down with her and Lorraine, the two employers, and told them about it. And even they were great. They kept it on wraps, but they also were looking out for me and stuff like that. But it was probably about 10 months, and I was just going into work every day, get off of work, go home. That was it, and just keeping it, and just because.
Was the dark side blowing you up? Or did you draw?
Some people were, and I just, one of the biggest things that I tell people, I tell people now, I'm like, you can't. I rarely have ever met somebody who says that they were so far deep in something, got clean, but still hung out with all the same people that they were hanging out with. It's just not. I went through my phone and deleted anybody who was that, because a lot of those friends weren't people I grew up with. They were friends that I met during all of this, again, so people that I'd party with. So I just, a couple of them that I had gotten close with, I sent them texts and said, listen, I'm just trying to get my stuff together, blah, 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 blah. Some of them sent me negative texts back saying, good luck, whatever, in a sarcastic way. But it's what it is, realize a lot of them, they weren't even my friends anyway. Exactly. And that was the only way for me to really do it. I had to basically wipe my slate clean and start fresh. And that's what I did, man. And it wasn't, that, like I said, that first year was tough.
Did you ever have a spooky moment where you were like,
I'm trying to think.
Like holiday, you know what I mean? Like whatever your trigger was, like if it was, like I know we grow up, our 4th of July's are this. Like, did you ever have?
I think I always, in the beginning, I had like times where I would, see people at, 4th of July, things like that. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could, but it was one of those things that I think I'd gone through it for so long that it was just like, when they tell people you get so tired eventually of it, like I think I was just so beat. I was so tired of, keeping up with lies and lying to family and this and that. It was just one of those things that you just don't, once you get so tired of it, you're just like, it's physically and mentally draining. And I was at that point, which I think is a good thing, because it helped me in my sobriety. It helped me to continue to stay clean. But yeah, that first year, man, I always say to people that first year is so hard too, because mentally I have to adjust. I'm taking medicine to stop withdrawals, which is great. That's one of the hardest parts, is the physical withdrawals. But mentally, you're having to adjust everything. You're having to adjust what you do in the morning, the way you wake up and brush your teeth. Yeah, because everything I would do would associate with taking a pill or doing this or that. So it's literally waking up and having to brush your teeth differently, just because it would, brush your teeth the wrong way and you go, oh man, let me go do this. Or it's just one of those things that you literally had to completely change everything.
Did you realize all of a sudden, was there more time in a day?
Oh my God, yeah. Not just that, but even the money. Like I was paying
like rich.
I was like, where'd this come from?
Right.
Like I didn't even, and the thing is, like I said, my father was, paying for these appointments, and then, he disciplined the hell out of me, man. And I'm thankful for it, because he would sit there and I was there with him, but worked out an agreement with him and Joanne. He would be at my job every week. Day paycheck would come. Joanne would give it to him. He would hand it to me. I'd sign it over. He would deposit it. He would pay bills that I had to pay, doctor's appointments I had to pay.
And here you got
leave me with, here's $20. Get yourself food for the week, whatever.
A life accountant, bro.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, don't get me wrong, in the beginning, I'm trying to like swindle. Oh, I bought a carton of cigarettes. Let me get, no, I'm not falling for that. Oh well, now you're gonna have to not eat for that. But truthfully, at the time, you're sitting there annoyed by it, but
you needed it.
Tough love is where that comes in, because
God bless, man.
So many people will cave and they'll go, all right, fine. And it's not like I wanted the extra money to be able to go out and do stuff, because I knew I was not. It was just like, I wanted to be able to go out and grab some food or this or that. And it's realizing, no, this is getting me right. This is disciplining me, and it's funny, even when I go out to dinner, like I was able to at the time when I'm on stuff, I didn't have an appetite. I would eat something.
Is that the byproduct why everyone's so like?
I think so.
Scaly?
I know for me, that's how it was with me. Like I would go, for example, I'd go to like Outback and order a burger and fries. Dude, I could barely even finish. I would never be able to finish the burger and barely finish the fries. Now I could eat 2 burgers and 2 things of fries easily, but it was like I was getting my appetite back. I was getting natural energy back.
Right.
And excuse me. And it's just, I continued to go that year. That was the struggle. And then it just started easily. And then I would start going out, I'd go out, have some drinks, but I was also smart to where I knew not to necessarily do it by myself. So I'd always, I wouldn't like go up to McCarrickers at the time was, the popular place.
Which one was McCarrickers? That was Old Farley's? Or no, was that the new?
No, it was St. Joe's Plaza over by the old movie theater.
Oh, and it was connected in the middle.
Yeah.
I remember that place.
So at that time, dude,
things were going down there.
Yeah, exactly. So we'd go there. You'd go with like my brother, because we lived together. I'd go with him, or I'd go with friends. I started meeting friends, at my job.
So you had an insurance policy, so to speak.
And I started, hanging out with people at my job who then I started to tell what was going on. And I would tell them my situation. So they were supporting me and going, oh, absolutely. And they would watch my back while we were out drinking and stuff like that. So it became one of those things that I realized, okay, I do have to get my story out. At the time, it wasn't get my story out to help people. At the time, it's get my story out so that way they can help me. So they can continue to keep
accountability.
Accountability, exactly. So I fast forward a year, June of 2012. I've been clean a year, just over a year. And then I had met my beautiful wife. I was
going to say, the missus is coming into play soon.
Yeah, so I met her.
Did we grow up with her?
No, she's 7 years younger than me. So she went to Matanzas.
Oh, but she grew up here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She grew up in Palm Coast.
She's younger than us.
Yeah. So she's younger than us. So, but she went to Matanzas and everything like that. But she at the time was working at Hooligans.
Okay.
And at the time she was the hostess there. So I would always see her because my brother and I and a group of friends of ours would go in football Sundays.
I remember that was a spot for a while.
We'd go in Sundays, football season, stuff like that. And I would see her and it was always funny because we'd be sitting down and, at our table and stuff like that. And I would always, we would have a pitcher of beer, stuff like that. But I would always like make jokes to my brother. I'd always, and the guys there would be like, oh man, the girl at the front's really, it's really pretty. She's cute. I want to talk to her. So I would, every time I would leave, I was trying to like put in the work. I would leave and I would go to say bye to her and I'd be like, hey, have a good day. And she would just put her head down. Thanks, you too. And I'm like, man, she is just cold shouldering me.
Tough nut to crack.
Yeah, exactly. So finally, one night I was at one of my friends. We went, a group of us after work, went up to McCarrickers.
Where are you at this point?
At Nicky's. So I'm at Nicky's. So I'm working at Nicky's. Yep. So we went up to McCarrickers for, it was during the NBA finals at the time. So we were up there watching the basketball game, just having a beer or whatever. And I see her and she's at the bar. She had just gotten off of work and she was with one of her friends. So her friend went up to use the bathroom, left to use the bathroom, and she was just sitting up there by herself. So I looked at my buddy and I was like, I'd had 2 beers at that point. So liquid courage, and I was like, I'll be right back. So I go up, sit down next to her. And I was like, what's up, Brittany? And she looked at me like, how do you know my name? Who are you? And I start talking. And then she recognized, by the face and stuff from coming in there. And we started hanging out that night. I drove her home. That way she didn't have to drive. picked her up that next morning, brought her back to her car, and we started texting and literally been together ever
Rest
since.
is history.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Thank you.
And you're 6 months old?
4.5 months old.
4.5.
Yeah. So we've been married. We've been together 7 years. Boy.
God bless.
So we've been together 7 years. And we got married 3 years ago. So we've been married 3 years. Yeah. And now we got a little beautiful baby boy, 4.5 months. So
you're saying just to recap, about a year or two in, you started to kind of, you were sailing some smoother seas, excluding other life issues.
So even and I even joke like to this day, but even, get some more coffee. You and I, you good? No, I'm good for right now. Keep going. But you and I, growing up here, the way that we all were, we knew, now we look at it, Palm Coast is has 100,000 people in it. Right. When we were growing up, Palm Coast was small, and we still, and I think all of us still look at it as a small town. I know I do. I still joke around. I'm like, man, the population here is only like 30,000. I'm like, wait, no, it's 100,000 now.
I know, it's up there.
But I still look at Palm Coast as a small town. I grew up here, so a lot of people knew me. So the second day after, I think it was like the second or third day after like meeting my wife and actually like hanging out with her, I was like, so listen, just so you know, I was an addict. I was this. I was that.
You had to come clean.
Like because one of the things is like I been through that cycle for so long. Not even just in relationships, friendships, where especially when I was on drugs, I was just always lies. So it was like, you know what, like, and I just wanted to start fresh, just in general, like just so I was like I spilled the beans to her. I was like, because I knew too. I was like, it's a small town. A lot of people knew me. I knew she was going to find out.
Well, you were starting to confide in people anyways.
Yeah, and I knew somebody was going to go up to her and be like, "Hey, just so you know, I see you're talking
the haters
to this
out
guy.
there, like
he's blah blah blah." So I wanted to tell her my story. I wanted to get it out there so she knew, so nothing was a surprise to her. And she was awesome with it. She was like, "No, I understand. I give you credit." And start out explaining to her I was going to church every week. She started coming with me.
Nice,
I'd like to come with you, and just been my just constant support, for years, and has pushed me just in every way possible, as far as work goes, as far as my career goes, as far as ambitions. I mean, everything. Just it's always pushed me to just be the best version of myself. Right. And it's just it's one of those things. And I start slowly, confiding in people, start telling people my story, and really get to the point where I'm just like, you know what, I gotta start trying to get out there more, because I realize, especially for younger people, one of the hardest things is when you're going through something like that, if you don't have anybody that's been through the same thing, it's hard for you to trust. It's people will tell you, your family's different, but outsiders will be like, oh, I know what you're going through, and you're like, you don't, because you've never done drugs, and that's great. Like I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, but when you meet somebody who's been through it, and they know the feelings that you're feeling, they know the thoughts you're thinking, it's easier, because you can just sit there and go, oh man, all right, I can actually be myself, and is it always going to work out to where they're going to get hope and get themselves together? No, but knowing that you at least tried, I feel like is the biggest thing. And that's just what I've been trying to do, over the years. And it's funny because going back to the pizza thing, for so long, like I said, all I cared about was acrobatics and that. And once I finally was, had my head on straight, and I've been clean for now, year, 2 years. Cause that's what I say. I'm like, I've been clean 8 years, but it's been probably about the past 5 or 6 is when I've been really trying to dip down into like my creativity as far as in the pizza industry goes, really just trying to go at it 150% as much as I can. And that's what I've been trying to do, man. I'm fortunate that I love what I do. And I try going to work every day. I'm constantly researching. I'm trying to, do new things, stuff like that. But it's just the creativity part of what I do has really just started coming about in the past, 6 years, me really trying to just hanker down and go, all right, let's do this. Like I want to, I love this industry. My goal has always been to, be able to be an owner myself one day. And, it's just one of those things that I just continue to push forward. I just started back at Joe's about right after my son was born, really, like about a month after he was born. And I ended up parting ways. I was working back in Mezzaluna down in Halifax. I had been with them for, since they had opened that one for about 4.5 years. Once I had the baby, I wanted to, start cutting back a little bit on hours. And the scheduling just didn't work out, for who they're able to get to cover, just you couldn't have two full-time guys at the time, you know. So we parted ways. You know, I contacted Mike after we did, and you know, asked him if he was looking. He was like, "Hell yeah, man, come on board," you know. And he's been taking care of me, man. It's 2 minutes down the road from my house.
Perfect.
And he's a great guy. He's, you know, I've known him for years since we were younger. Yeah, he's just an awesome dude, you know. And he pushes me too, you know. We have certain pizzas on the menu, specialty pies that are, you know, limited on the menu. But, you know, he was smart in a business decision by doing that because, you know, it allows us, because we do a lot of high volume of pizzas at that restaurant, you know, so especially on Fridays and Saturdays. So it allows us as pizza guys to not be, you know, buried deep in these crazy pizzas trying to make them in the middle of a Friday night rush. So he limits that. But he says to me, listen, when you're in during the day and you're making those, man, go crazy. Like, you know, fun. He comes in, he always busts my chops. He's like, dude, you're killing me. You'll see a pizza. And he's like, I can't keep eating pizza every day. I'm trying to go to the gym. I'm trying to do this. And I'm like, yeah, but that's what I'm here for, man. You know, I gotta do the best I can, you know?
Dude, you are, I mean this, because we haven't seen each other in a hot minute. Yeah. For those that are listening, this guy's, we grew up together, but as this adulting thing is unique and you find your own place in life. And when you get to cross paths again, it's very nostalgic. It's even cool to hear your voice, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It's warming. And I got to tell you, when I
was to be able to come on.
Well, when you reached out to me, I was blown away. I was like, are you kidding me, dude? The seat's yours. You are, and I mean this, no joke, bro. You are a massive part of my inspiration on my daily grind. Thanks, because man. I get a lot of fun little hate banter amongst my little, you know, like, look at you, you know, what do you do? You know, what is internet? And they just think that the money falls from the sky and I just get to click the keyboard and bada bing. Yeah. But I have grinds, I got woes, but who doesn't want to be bigger? Who doesn't want the bigger boat and this? I get it. But you make me appreciate what I got. Thanks, because I love you taking pride in it, man. And it's such a powerful thing that whether you're making a pizza or slinging an iPhone, it's yours. Yeah, exactly, and you're standing behind it. You're proud of it. And dude, the photos and you sharing it, it's literally I show my wife on the daily. Yeah. And you are ruining everyone's diet without a doubt. But I'm just proud of you, man.
Thanks, man.
And I really appreciate you sharing the dark side. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and like I just reformatted the show's title to like your story, my table. Yeah. Because I want people to know that this isn't an agenda. Yeah. There's no like, so tell me about your business. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's how it was starting in the beginning, because I didn't know I still don't know what I'm doing. But that story, I swear, dude, is going to resonate with handfuls of people. Yeah. And one thing go ahead.
No, and I think that's one of the things too. And I think I've come to realize that is, you know, like I said in the beginning, you get a lot of regret, a lot of, you know, why to do this, why to do that. And you get embarrassed. You don't want to talk about it, you know, but, you know, as things have turned, you know, for the better for me over the past 8 years, that's why I'm so much want people to know, like, listen, man, anybody can do it, because I was fortunate that I was never arrested. I was fortunate that, you know, I never OD'd or passed away. But there's a lot of people that, you know, I partied with that aren't here nowadays. Wow. You know, they're not here today. And it's sad, you know, and some of them are in prison. Some of them have passed away, you know, and it's one of those things that I thank God every day that didn't happen to me. I thank God for my family. I thank God for my wife. I thank God for my close friends. Because the support is the biggest thing. It's because you're going to have so many down days. I never want to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I got clean on May 23rd, 2011. And every day after that was peachy, you know, because it wasn't, you know, there was plenty of days where I struggled and had my doubts of whether or not I was strong enough to be able to do it. But when you have that support and you have those people by your side, it really makes a huge difference. You know, it allows you, when you have those down days, to have somebody there that's going to push you and go, no, man, listen, it's just it's a little bump in the road. You get through it. You keep moving forward. And I think that's why I try to get it out there, and I'm very open about it. You know, I always tell people, I'm like, listen, if somebody wants to talk to me, I'm never gonna hold something back or you know, be shy about it. I'm very, you know, some people aren't open about it. I try to be. Because I feel like if it can help somebody, great. But I also want people to know that, you know, I'm a real person too. Like, I had my struggles, man. And, you know, and that's why I take now and I look at, you know, being a father, you know, completely changes your entire world. Being a husband changes your world, but being a father is just, it's a whole nother level, to wake up in the morning. My wife's a nurse, she's a charge nurse down at Halifax hospital. So she works her tail off day in, day out, just as much as I do. And, so she's gone very early in the morning on the day she works. She's having to leave our house by, around 5:30, 5:45 in the morning. So I'll wake up, my son will be next to me, and to see him just smile, first thing in the morning, you're just like, dude, how can you start off your day bad when you got that to look at, But it's also, when I see that, that's what pushes me even more. That's what inspires me to go, now I don't only want to be the best guy I can be for myself, but I want to be the best man I can be for my wife. I want to be the best man I can be for my son. So my son can grow up seeing it, like when I always tell people that, I'm like, I'm a new father, so we're still figuring things out. We're figuring out how to do this parenthood thing. I don't think anybody ever gets it figured out, but it's one of those things that your actions will definitely speak louder than words. We could tell our son growing up all we want, don't do this, do that, live by this, live by that, but we got to live by example. And that's what, I want to do as far as when it comes to my work, and even with, how you made a comment about, how I take pride in what I do, it's one of those things I look at, man, I'm like, listen, if I'm at a job 45 hours a week, like, I want to be happy, I want to be happy at what I'm doing. I don't want to be miserable. It's and I'm fortunate that I fell into it. And I ran with it. I'm fortunate that now it's just, I continue to grow, even, like I said, Mike will just sit there and push me more and more. Him and I are going to be going with our wives next year in March to Vegas for it's a pizza expo they have every year. And it's like the best of the best. That's where all the top guys go. It's a whole food show for multiple days. But they also have competition that they do. So they have all different vendors there, distributors, everything on the like competition? That. So I'm going to be going. So the pizza I brought you actually is the one I'm entering in it. I've been working on it it's a thing a recipe that I started about 5 years ago when my wife and I were up in New York for a brother's wedding. We went into the city. He got married in Long Island. The next day we went into the city and just spent the day in the city. And of course, every pizza place you could think of, her and I were going and trying. And one of my favorite ones, man, was under the Brooklyn Bridge. It was Grimaldi's. They have multiple locations, but that was the original. I've been there for they have a coal fire oven. The coal fire oven's like 100 years old.
Wow. And
still to this day, it was one of the best pizzas I ever had. Came back, well, we don't have coal, we don't have coal fire ovens down here. So it was like but I was determined to recreate it. And I was like, I got to recreate this pizza. It was so good. So I started ordering different ingredients from distributors, different types of cheeses, started playing around with different types of sauces, making and things like that. And I've tweaked it for about 5 years, but everybody I've made it for loves it. So it's the one that I'm going to be entering in the competition next year. And that's literally, there's guys that come over from Italy, guys who come over from China, all over Europe. People come all over for this competition every year.
Wow.
Because they have a few different categories, but I'm entering the traditional one. And, for me, it's just, I'd love to win. Yeah, obviously, and I'm determined to, but it's one of those things that I just want to go to be able to learn so much. I want to be able to, I want to be able to say that I competed the best with the best. It's one of those things that it's just, I try to have fun while doing it. It's like me and, Terranova,
you and Mike,
him and I, but it's so much fun to me, and it's like, and I know he's having fun too. And that's what I say, man, I'm like, listen, just because it's, two different pizzerias and there's 100,000 people here. Right. Like there's plenty of food to go around, plenty of business to go around. And that's how like Mike and looks at it and Terranova looks at it. And I, so it's like, we try to have fun, and it's like, we push each other to, be better and to continue to, he'll post something. And I'm like, oh man, I got to go in more. I got to try and step it up some more, and I know he'll shoot me a message saying the same thing. So, but it's fun, man. We do it in healthy fun. I'm
enjoying it.
Yeah.
For those that are listening, if you got some downtime, check out Terranova's.
Yeah.
They've got a Facebook page, website, etc. But I hope when Mikey's posting it, is it going to the Terranovas or
I'm not sure. I know he tags Terranovas in it, just like I tag Joe's in it. So it should be on both of their Facebook pages. But if not,
we got a pizza rivalry going on right now, and it's great fun. Mikey did so one of the owners / chefs, the pizza developer man, did the bottle cap. I think that was kind of like the tip. That's what kind of really got it going. But he did the bottle cap challenge. That thing was dope too. It really worked. He's spinning the pizza. Cap comes off. Then you come back. Yours was pretty dope too.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Try.
But now you just stepped it up. and you did this like behind the back whatever they're called, and the pizza goes behind you. But it's great to see that, and it is good fun. And not to mention, we are so, whatever word you want to use, blessed, lucky, fortunate to be in this small town. And it has been surreal. I run into people. Even yesterday, I was just chilling in front of breaks, and I met some new people I've never met before. Yeah. And to hear them talk about Palm Coast or Flagler Beach in a 5-ish year mentality, it's so surreal. Like they're most of them, they're all loving it. It's new to them, but like when they think Kohl's has been there since the beginning, it's like, nah, man, you don't know.
You got no idea.
There's no
we had
Kohl's.
one bank, one gas station. That was it.
So, but to be here this long and to be able to, it's funny because then you're out there, and if you're in the safari of this world, then you got someone like, how do you know everybody? It's like, dude, you don't.
Yeah, you don't realize. Like,
we've been here since from our whole life.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see us now adulting. Yeah. And I love
because even like Terra Nova, I was thinking about it actually on my drive over here, and I was like thinking about it. I'm like, me and this dude have known each other. Me and Mikey Terra Nova have known each other since we were in like 6th, 7th grade at Buddy Taylor. And so you think, 2023 will be my 20-year reunion.
Golly.
Already. Yeah. It's crazy.
That means
yours is coming up in 3 years, but but it's like I was thinking about it, I'm like, dude, him and I have known each other for 23, 24 years. It's like it's crazy to think, like, because it's so true. Like, time seems to just drag out when you're going through school, and it's like now you look at it, it's like going by in the blink of an eye. And it's like, I thought about it on my way here. I'm like, man, me and this dude have known each other for 23 years. Like, that's crazy. But I think that's what I love about it, though, man. It's like all of us, Jimmy, Amy, you, and it's just like all of us, we all grew up, Carlos, I was thinking about him the other day. I was like, I haven't seen him in forever.
Carlos Santiago?
Yeah.
Bro, I almost posted a photo.
Forever.
He's,
I
have a photo of him from about, I don't even know how many years ago. And him and I are on the beach playing guitars. Yeah. And I almost was going to post it on my Facebook and say, I'm looking for this man. He's out there. Yeah. He's under some alias. He's under doing something, but I miss him. But yeah, Carlos, man. Yeah.
You probably ain't driving the Neon anymore. No. Things stood out like a sore thumb. Him, Nuno, and Lemus.
You had Lemus, Nuno. Well, you had Eric Lemus with the Sabroso styles. The what was it? A Jetta.
Yeah.
Nuno with the Cavalier oranged out.
Orange,
all these
shade
dropped, and
I can't tell you how many times Nuno and I would go to his house, and he would lock his keys in his car, and then he'd have to get underneath like the lucky or the safe switch was like under. Like
or the battery went dead
or something. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Him and I think Carlos were the only ones that shaved their handles.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Everyone else, no one could afford it, but they were the only ones that get it done. So Carlos had like a mechanic buddy.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who got that dope car side kit which cracked every day. I remember that. And everybody would step on the side and you're like, no, don't do it.
Because even Nuno and I, we haven't in a while, but him and I will get together every once in a while, play golf. He was at my wedding a couple years ago.
Dude, Nuno's supposed to be joining Gavin. You remember Gavin?
Yeah.
Gavin has a soccer league on Mondays. Supposedly Nuno's joining it. I haven't been out there yet, so I hope to see him. His like cousin or some kind of younger kid is playing soccer on my Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah. And remember Julian? Julian came out with Marcelo, and I'm like, dude, this is like Nuno's some kind of offspring to something. And they're like, what? Like the kid doesn't even know how special it is to us. But there is something so. I mean, that's probably why a lot of people are going to enjoy this particular episode that grew up with us. Is it's like it's special, man.
Yeah, it's home.
It's and we all.
I think when we get older, we appreciate it more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Right. Like, because I remember when I was younger, and a lot of these guys that moved out, your Joe Robinsons, your guys like that, I'm happy, man. They're doing big things. They're doing great things. Brandon, me, Brandon, and Matt,
that's man. Brandon gave me that cup.
Yeah. Me, Brandon, and Matt, man. We were the trio back in the day. It's like, and all of them, man. It's like I'm so happy to see them doing what they're doing, doing great things. And it's like as we get older, man, it's like all the people that we grew up with, like that's truthfully, I can honestly say like, that's all I want. When I see people doing well, like it warms my heart. Right. It makes me feel good, because it's like, we all grew up here and we all have that special bond of, parties that we go to, the things that was stupid things we do together and fun things we did together. Yep. But it's what makes Palm Coast. Right. And I feel like that's something special for us and something special that we share. And that's why when we were talking about, getting together for this. I was happy, man, just because I was like, dude, it's been forever. Last time I saw you was at Publix when we ran into each other.
Publix?
Yeah, when you were with your wife, and it was like a split second. I was on my way home.
Okay.
And you gave me a big hug, and you were like, dude, stop posting all these pizza pictures. And then you looked at your wife, and you're like, this is the guy. He's the one who's been killing me. I'm like, but yeah, so I think that was the last time. But.
And even before that, dude, like I haven't gotten to chill with you for a hot minute. Yeah. But of course, that's, it's funny because we all growing up and we're like close, but yet so far away. Yeah, like even today, Jimmy wanted to hang out and we still actually may. But I try to keep in touch. And Facebook, I'm not one of these guys that are like, ashamed to say I love the Facebook.
Oh yeah,
I love the book. But
it just goes to show how old we are because like I talk to like young people at my job. They're like you're on Facebook. That's for old people. I'm like, oh damn,
they don't use it. It's actually like
we're considered old now.
Yeah, statistically, like the stats came out this last year, and they were like, nobody uses it.
I just started my Instagram page like literally a year ago. And I'm 10 years behind, but I started strictly for pizza, just to promote my pizzas, things like that. But it's just like, even that, dude, like it's just like people are like behind. For years are like, you got to start an Instagram page for your pizzas. Like not too many people are on Facebook anymore. I'm like, oh great.
Well, like, I'm Instagram, Facebook only. I don't have anything else. No, most of it, I don't quite mind saying it. 90% rest of it is for the hookup game. I don't really got time for the Snapchats and the thingy
absolutely.
They're cool. I try to keep up to date because I'm supposed to be like somewhat versed and know of them, but I don't know. But listen, Scotty texted me yesterday too.
Really?
Scott Van Dusen, ironically,
my fellow ginger.
God, he had a baby. He had a little boy, probably around the same time.
That's right. I actually seen pictures of it. Yeah, I feel like
he's got to be right around the time.
But yeah, I do. Yeah, it was around the same time.
So he's doing that. But he's in Connecticut.
Yeah,
he's doing really well. I'm happy for him. But it was funny that he texted me. And another note, on a local note, so Mama Chinchuli, Donna Chinchuli, is my neighbor.
Yeah, okay.
Who I like. It's just crazy how life, right? So here I am, and she's been there my whole life. I just been here like less than 10 years ish, and the other day I was there, and I'm over there quite often to help her out, anything techie wise. So I'm just over there, and I said she like loves the show, and she loves to say like, who's coming on that she remembers. Like she loves the guests that you don't know, but anybody. So I said Brad Beam's coming on. She goes, I got a story. I said, what, you ready? You know what she's got? Story? It's like sad, but yeah, it's 9/11.
Dude, it's
that literally. She goes,
I can tell you what's so funny about that is, okay, that actually that puts a big smile on my face because I talk to people, my wife can tell you, my brother can tell you, and every time I tell the same story to people when I talk about it, I'm like, because we'll talk about teachers now who are teaching at FPC, things like that. And I'm like, I remember I had Miss Lemus for Spanish 1.
Yep.
Awesome class, love Spanish. And left her class, and then went to Miss Chinchuli's Spanish 2. Miss Chinchuli gave us, I forget what it was, but it was like she had like this rule. It was like you only had like a couple weeks to get your
name,
and like then to start really getting in the rhythm of doing your Spanish. And then it was strictly speaking Spanish in that class as soon as you walked through the door. Boom. If not, it was like you had to. And I remember we end up in her class, and I'm in her class, and 9/11 happened, and it was sad because of the day. Obviously, never forget, but. We're in her class when 9/11 happened, and school gets locked down, classroom gets locked down. So now I go from being in this woman's class, who was the sweetest lady, but we go from being in her class because now they don't have block scheduling, but it was 4 periods, so it was probably an hour and a half, to now like 6. Yep. And I'm like, I got to speak Spanish this entire time. I just remember being so distraught. That was it. I remember like what was happening. Obviously, everybody stunned everybody, but that's what I thought of in my head. I'm like, we have this tragedy happen. How am I even going to talk about this in Spanish? How am I going to stay in this class and not like fail? Because we're probably going to get all these points docked. But that's what, like she said, sad story. But we made light of it because now we can make light of it. But yeah, Miss Chinchuli,
literally I'm at her house, and it's so surreal to be there because here I am getting to like love on someone who was so dear to me in my adolescence years, but in her closet is like a shrine of FPC because of Matt and Mike. And Matt, remember Matt was like all that you can sing and dance, cross country,
everything,
elite,
all around.
So in the closet is just the dopest.
He would speak languages that we didn't know exist,
and now he is now he's like using them because he travels the earth. But dude, to see, like I saw a photo in there the other day. I took a photo of it. I still meaning to send it to like Terry Baker. It's like Terry Baker and Matt Chinchuli and like the like all these pictures. And I'm like, golly. Yeah. Like this is another sense of home for me, like to be there. So, but yeah, I go Brad Beam, and she was so excited. Yeah, she was like, awesome, tell him the story. So that was that. But she is on that note about, I've told it before in the past, but dude, I wrote her the huge apology letter.
Really?
Yeah, it was really I don't want to say the word hate, but child hate. Yeah, I remember because I like literally hated school. Yeah, and then when I had her as a teacher, and that rule I'll never forget. Yeah, you had to pick a name. I think she picked you. She either picked it for you or you picked it. I
just remember too, once you started.
Do you remember yours?
I don't. I have no idea.
I remember mine was Vicente.
Yeah,
but I don't remember.
Dude, all I remember for any Spanish is hola and like very minimal. I've picked up on some over the years from working in the restaurant business, you know, but like other than that, yeah, like, and it's one of those things that I kind of like disappointed. Like, wish I would have paid more attention because I kept going with it. But I'm more pissed now because I find out that they like offer Italian. I'm like, they don't offer Italian. They offer like, Spanish and French. That was all we had. Like,
yep.
Because I don't remember them offering anything.
Well, dude, I'll tell you, my wife and I were talking the other day about trying to really pick up Italian because we went to Italy, and I'm telling you right now, if you're going to go to Italy and you want the real experience, you're not doing the tourist thing and you can't speak the language, wait a minute and try to get something. Because I thought maybe my Spanglish would get me by. Yeah. No, not in the non-tourist zones. No, and that's where I was. I wasn't in the touristy zone. So I'm in like the neighborhood. My grandfather grew up in Naples. Nice. And dude, as being a communicator, I was like, I couldn't even ask for more balsamic. You know, like I couldn't even, like you're trying, but it's like, and you're like, oh. But point is, I ended up writing her that apology letter after I had lived in a country that spoke Spanish. Okay. And that's the only way. To me, I'm like not a good learner. Yeah. You got to be in it. Yeah. And I told my wife.
I'm the same way with anything. I tell people, I'm like, you can tell me how to do something.
Got to do
it. But I have to get my hands dirty and to be able to pick up on it, you know, because I've never been one of those people. I can read an entire book and not tell you anything that it was, what it was about. But I could listen to it and pick up on it or remember it.
And if you're able to implement something too, it helps me. But I could read a book too and not even retain it if it's not.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
the only thing I can is pizza books.
Well, yeah, you're doing it. Man, it's so the stories we've got too of us hanging out. That's so crazy. You were a year younger than me. I thought you were always in the same grade, but we chilled.
But we all of us, I mean, we all, because I think it was me, Braxton Wall, Amy, like, well, I
remember you and Braxton being good
Braxton
homies.
And I were really close.
And then didn't you live? I was in the B section. Weren't you B section?
I was in the W, but Braxton was in the B, so I was always at his house.
Because I remember, you know, we had Braxton, we had Matt Robinson, we had
Matt was right around the corner from.
We had a bunch of people. I always do this, and then whoever I don't name is like, I was in section too. But
yeah, and even whatchamacallit lived right down the street from Matt too. Mike. Big Mike.
Mitchell,
yeah. Because him, Braxton, Mike, Mitchell, and Chewy all lived like with those.
Well, you guys were the basketball dudes.
Yeah, and then Braxton lived right around the corner. But yeah, they were all right there.
And the Sibleys.
Yep,
Sibley brothers were on Bird of Paradise. Yep. But you guys were like I said, the basketball.
Yeah, that was like
crew.
Our stuff. Yeah,
like when and if I did go to the park, you guys were. That was your scene.
Yeah, we loved our basketball.
Do you still ball at all? Do you ever?
I was waiting for that to get brought. I was for a lot of years. I shouldn't say that. What am I talking about? For a lot of years, but I was for a little while. Me, my brother, a couple of guys that he worked with. We were going every Monday after they got out of work because he works down in Flagler for.
Your brother.
Yeah.
I see him. I see him often.
So like him and the guys from work after work on Mondays, they would go to Wadsworth Park. I would meet him there, and we would play. And we were playing for a while, dude. And I loved it. You know.
Dalton got a hold of you.
Yeah, well, no, what happened is I was, I forget what it was that we started slowing down, or I shouldn't say they were still playing. I had stopped. I forgot what I'd done. I'd like injured myself, something stupid.
Yep.
But then I remember me and one of the guys that I was in a life group with at my church, one of my good friends, him and I started doing about a year and a half ago, we started doing like a life group for like teenage guys. So we were like trying to, you know, take them under our wing, you know, things like that. So they're all anywhere from like 13 to like 17. We had a few of them. So they're like, oh, let's play basketball one day. So we're playing basketball.
Oh boy.
One guy goes up, I go up for the rebound, and the sad part is it wasn't even the teenagers that did it. It was one of my buddies who was 40 years old. He comes down and he went to go to grab the ball, and he's a big guy. He's a little bit taller than me. So, him and I are getting physical, and I go up to grab the rebound, and he bumped into me, and I came down on my ankle, and but the reason why I was so bad is because it went from the concrete to the grass. So it rolled. Yeah. So it happens. I start walking it off. I'm like, oh, I'll be good. Go home. I can't remember. And I think my wife was actually at work too. So then one of my things is like every Sunday I would always go and like have lunch with her she has to work every other Sunday. So I'd always go down there to have lunch with her. So I go down there. I remember texting her before, and I was like, I hurt my ankle a little bit or something like that. And and she was like, oh, okay. And I get down there, and of course, her being a nurse working at a hospital, she's on me when it comes to that stuff. So I get, and she looks, and she was like, oh my God, it was size of a freaking softball. Right. And I was like, it's all right. I'll just put some ice on it when I get home. We're good. So I go home the next day, go to the doctor, and he's looking, and he's like, oh yeah, that's a little bad. So it's all like black and blue under it. Send me to go get x-rays. I get x-rays, and then I go to a orthopedic surgeon, and the guy's like, so and this time I'm like, it's like I'm in denial. I'm like, it's fine, I'll be all right. So I go to this guy, and he's like, yeah, so you broke your ankle in 2 different places, and you sprained it in 2 different places. I was like, I didn't think you could do both. Yeah. I didn't even know that was possible. Right. And it was, so he put me in a boot. He had me on crutches for a couple of days, put me in a boot.
Surgery or?
No, thank God, man, knock on wood. But yeah, it was scary because I was just like, dude, like, especially with what I do for a living. I'm on my feet 12 hours
you got
a
a
day.
Job too?
Yeah. So I'm like, so I literally had to take off of work I was off of work solid for 2 weeks. Couldn't even like.
You could stand at all.
No, like I was walking in this boot, man, and I would walk for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and it was just, the pain was so bad. And I would get home, and my wife would always know if I like pushed myself that day, because she would get home from work and she would take the boot off and go to like ice it down for me. And if it was swollen, she was like, What'd you do today? I'm like, nothing. I'm just sat on the couch. No, you didn't. One day she caught me like trying to drive my truck.
Was it your left or right?
My right, my gas foot and brake foot. She's like, you can't drive with a boot on. I'm like, that's all right. Because we were having our house built at the time. So I was going to check on it. It was like right around the corner. I was like, it was right down the street. We're good. But, just guys being guys. And so thankfully, but yeah, it took about, then I started going back to work only a couple days a week. And I would try to like push myself, man, and it hurt. And I think it took about 6-7 weeks.
They're the worst.
It finally got good. And even now, like still to this day, when I'm cutting my grass, because our house is only a year old. So when I'm cutting my grass, it still kind of has those like, and dude, there's a couple of times where like I'll feel it like rolling. I'm like, oh, and like it's painful. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna step away from the basketball for a while.
I had that happen.
Realized real quick what my age was.
Too. I know what you mean, like right at where the fence meets the cement. And
and it was just like that dip, and it just it hit it the right way, and it was no bueno.
I had I had one sprain. I sprained it. I was playing racquetball with David Sanfilippo. I'll never forget. We had like a year or two solid where David and I would meet once or twice a week.
Yeah.
And dude, we would ball out.
Yeah,
I fell in love with racquetball.
Yeah,
it kept me. It's such a good.
It makes you feel good. Yeah,
and it's it's an individual sport, so to speak. So if you did good, you did good. If you did bad, you had no one else to blame. And just the camaraderie.
Well, even when I was going to Wadsworth with like my brother and the guys from his work, like, dude, I was having a blast doing that, because it was only, we were doing like, there was like 5 of us, so we were always doing, or 5 or 6 of us. So we were doing either like 2-3-on-3 usually. We were just doing half court. We didn't get crazy and try to do full court. And on the other side, there was always a lot of people playing full court. And they would always be like, hey, you guys want to join in? Now, mostly, I think it was like once or twice that we did.
Right.
Excuse me. But most of the times we told them no, just because we were like, dude, we're enjoying this. Like, it's just, it felt good. Like, we were sweating. We were still, having fun. But yeah, it was just, it does feel good when you get out there.
I'm a big fan of, I mean, it's simple science to most people, but those that are not like sweating it out once or twice a week, if not daily, dude, those endorphins, it's good for your, it's just, if it wasn't for this fact that I can still play soccer, I would be losing my marbles.
It's funny because even like how I see you guys doing these like pickup games and stuff like that. It makes me happy. And it's like I almost sit there sometimes and like, man, I wish I did get into soccer because you guys like are all going out there and
come back in, bro.
Well, but Gavin's always has because I see the crew and I'm like, that's the crew, dude. Like it's all the all the high school people.
Dude, just to see Julian the other day, I'm like, I must have hugged him like 10 times. If they didn't, people that didn't know us, they're like, oh, they're dating. Yeah. Because I'm Julian Gavin, too. He was like in the middle of the games. We're just like,
because even Gavin, he's got two sons, now, right? Yeah.
I'm so proud of him too because
he's got 2 handsome kids, man.
Handsome kid, beautiful wife, and he's pioneering this. I've been kind of nurturing the sport. Tuesday, it's funny. I'm like pointing it, boy. If you got to answer too early,
no. I was gonna show you. I was gonna because I don't even know if you had seen a picture.
Dude, I still have haters telling me that I'm not live.
Really?
Yeah, it's so weird.
What does that mean?
I don't know. They're like, this show isn't live. Like people I don't even know, like sending messages and stuff. I don't check them during the show.
No, yeah. But
isn't it weird? It just reminded me because like here you are. If your phone did ring, you got to answer it. Your dad or who knows?
Yeah.
Who's watching Boy now?
My wife. She's at home. Yeah.
Okay.
So her and I. What's nice is we always. So I'm off. I'm off at the restaurant Sunday, Monday, and Thursday.
That's beautiful.
Mike gave me 3 days, which is great because he knew. That was since I had the baby, and he's got 3 kids, and he said, he's like, man, he's like, I know, like I'm all about family. So he decided he ended up giving me 3 days off. So I go in Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. I work. I work all day and night, so I get there usually 9:30 in the morning and I'm there until close. But it's nice because those 3 days I get to decompress, but I get to spend it with my family.
And you get my wife double tap days.
Yeah, my wife, she always. All the nurses at the hospital, they always have to work every other weekend. It's mandatory in the hospital.
Right.
So we don't always get Sundays off together. We get every other Sunday off together. But Monday's her like blackout day when she got hired on. She told them like,
perfect.
Unless it's like a holiday that she has to. Right. But we're fortunate. That's our one day guaranteed
family day.
Every single week, always a family day. Like that's when we,
awesome.
You know what I mean? So
it's very healthy about that. My heart goes out to my wife has a couple friends.
Yeah, that's my boy.
And healthy, 10 fingers, 10 toes, the whole thing.
He came 2 weeks early.
Is that super scary early?
No, because we had actually just gone to the doctor like 2 days before he actually came. And we went there on Monday and he had done, doctor had done a couple of different tests. Like they do towards the end, they do like these stress tests where they hook you up to the baby's heart rate up to a monitor and they, have it sit and everything looked good. And he was measuring at that time at like a little over 7 pounds. So he was like, and I remember his exact words. He's like, if he comes tomorrow, I'm fine with it because you're at full term. He's healthy. Like he looks like everything's good. 2 days later, I'm at work. My wife went down with one of her good friends to Daytona to get a pedicure, and they're on the way back, and she had stopped. That was when I was working down in Ormond, so she stopped into the restaurant and walks over to me, and we're talking, and, I'm like, how you doing? And she just looked different. Like, I could see, and I was like, you all right? Oh. And she was like, yeah, no, I'm good. And, we're talking. She's like, I'm just really tired. The drive was, like, hurting my back. And I was like, oh, gotcha. And we're talking for a second, and she's saying something to me, and then all of a sudden she, like, pauses and is like, and takes like a breath, and I'm like, "You all right?" And then she like keeps talking, and I'm like,
"What just happened?
Are you having contractions?" And she was like, "No, I don't think so." So then she goes home. I was like, "Why don't you call the doctor on the way home?" So she did, and they were like at lunch, so nobody answered. So she finally calls them a couple hours later and tells them, and they like looked up her like chart and everything to see where she was. They're like, "Well, why don't you just go down to the hospital, get it checked out, I'm sure everything's fine." They were like, but just go down there to check. So she did. She went in to check and everything. And they were like, well, I think you're fine. They were like, you're dilated a little bit, but nothing like crazy. But what we'll do is the doctor, they contacted him. And so he was like, he wanted to keep her overnight just to like check everything, like do urine samples, all that stuff. And he was like, and then what I'll do is I'll send you home in the morning. So she was like, okay. So I ended up leaving work early, went home, got a bunch of stuff, went down there to stay the night with her at the hospital. And 5 o'clock in the morning, man, she wakes up. She's like, I got to use the bathroom, and wakes up. And like weeks before that, I would joke with her when she'd wake up in the middle of the night at our house to use the bathroom because I would feel her wake up and I'd go, or I was like, did your water break? And she was like, no, and like laughing. And then so she got up to use the bathroom. And I was like, did your water break? And she like joking because that was just our ongoing joke. She was like, no. And she goes to get up and she was like, I think it might have. Nurse came in, sure enough, air water
perfect.
Broken.
You guys were already there.
Yeah. And then she was in labor for like 13 hours. And then 5 o'clock, she started pushing, man. She was, tell you what, to see that is like, whole new respect for just women in general and how strong they are, because it was like from 5, she started pushing and he was born 7:28. So almost 2.5 hours straight of pushing. Wow. And yeah, but it was just like such a miracle to I can't imagine that. Just,
that's where Brad Beam goes to different Super Saiyan. This is your new mode.
Yeah, it was just to see him when, to hold him for the first time and see him, it's just like, that's what I said to my wife. I was like, damn, I was like joking around, but I was like, man, we made a good looking baby. But then even as like, we're like holding him and I'm holding him there and I'm in the room and I'm just like, it just hits you, and it's just so hard to explain. Anybody who's a father knows that feeling, but it's just like one of those things that you just look down and you're like, we created this like, and now I'm responsible for this. Yep. So it's like, and it's just, that's why I said it's something like you just trigger something switches and you're just like, it's a whole nother.
I could like feel it all over you because I've seen those that I've gotten to grown up with. So for instance, Jimmy too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jimmy has always been a great guy, but like, and so have you to me.
Yeah.
To see you guys now at this like new level of love. Like I see when Jimmy's interacting with his kid.
Yeah.
It's like to me, there's no word to describe it. It's very beautiful, but it's kind of funny in a good way.
Yeah,
like,
and that's how it is with me because like I
turn
think
into
about
little mushes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's like I'll even laugh at myself when I hear the way I'm like talking to my son. And I'm like, but you don't even care. You're just like, dude, everything else Jimmy in the world doesn't matter.
We bring the
noises I make, the things that I say to him, because then once you see him smile, you're like, boom, that was all.
There's a whole new dialogue being created. Yeah. I didn't even understand the language. I know it's a love language, but to see him interacting with it, because they'll, if he's got to take a piss or something, I get to hold him, and it's like, I'm like, wow. But we bring him to Oceanside, and he's like the star, it's, but to see my buddies as men, it's a beautiful thing, man. And I'm proud of all you. It's precious.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, now you're not living for yourself anymore, Like it was really, you've done, I mean, I can't tell you how much I love and appreciate you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Thanks, a lot of people, that's like the silver lining to this whole show. And what keeps me in love with the people I have in my circle is that I like when people are just open and vulnerable. And it's not all about, look at me and look what I got. Like it takes a lot to stay happy. It's not easy. And you're going to have your poop days and you're going to have things happen. But for you to share what you shared today, man, like, let me ask you this too. I'm sure it goes without even asking, but for those that maybe listen and they don't know who you are, I've had this happen where people holler at me after a show and they're like, hey man, can I get contact? Are you open to that kind of stuff? If someone just like, hey man, like, because
give them my, you can always give them my Facebook.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I direct them to it. Yeah, exactly. And they feel free to message me. And I have no problem with that, man. That's why I always try to tell people. I'm like, listen, if I can, because a lot of times that's what a lot of people don't realize. A lot of times it might not necessarily be you, but you might know somebody, or you might have a family member or something. Somebody, I feel like somebody always knows somebody, and somebody's, when they hear something, somebody pops into their mind and goes, wait a second, I feel like that's what so-and-so should hear, or that's who so-and-so should talk to.
Right.
So that's one of the things over the years I've learned to realize is, they're so open about it.
Right.
That way, if, because I know even when Christina was on here, talking about, with her sister and stuff like that, it's the same concept, It didn't necessarily happen to her, but it happened to her sister. And it's just somebody always knows somebody that's been affected by any type of addiction, and they, a lot of times it's just support. They need somebody to talk to. So I'm always open to that. I'm always open to sharing my story.
Well, I think what you're doing is you're using, what do they say when you when you go to jail or whatever, and it's like, don't serve time. You don't let the serve, you know what I mean? What is the saying? It's like, you don't let the time serve you. You serve the time, something to that effect. Yeah. Basically, you're using your story now and your history as artillery and fuel moving forward, not like you're trying to hide it. You're saying, look, I went through this. This made me who I am.
I think that's one of the things too with me is like with my faith, where my faith has gotten stronger over the years, where I look at it as like, listen, whether you believe in God or not, I know for me, I do. My faith is very strong, and I look at my situation that happened as something that God is sitting there saying to me, listen, man, you got to turn this from a negative to a positive.
Amen.
And this is how you do it. You help people. That's what it boils down to. Because anything that I've ever read in the Bible, it talks about serving people is like the main thing. And I feel like that's one way of being able to serve people is trying to help them, you know, and if this is my way that I can help people and I can serve people, then I want to do it, you know, because it's one of those things that so many people are ashamed when it happens. But if you're putting in the steps to better yourself and to fix it, might not happen overnight, might not happen, you know, and it took me a solid year to mentally get myself back to normal. There was a lot of days I wanted to quit, man. And it's just when you don't and you put in that effort, as long as you, and that's why I always tell people, I'm like, you got to put in the effort though. You got to put in the work. You know, nobody else can do it for you. My family helped me through it 100%, but I had to be the one who was ready to do it, who chose to do it, and put in the work. And that's where you turn to your support to help you through it, you know? And that's what I always tell people. I'm never going to knock somebody if they're putting in those steps to try and better themselves. I'm going to sit there and see what I can do to help you along the way, you know? But it's very true when they say you got to want to do it, because when you don't, that's that mentality. When you don't want to actually do it, you're just doing it to appease your mom or appease your family or appease your friends. Eventually you're going to go back to your old ways. And it's just, you got to be ready to commit to it, because it's a lot of work. You got to be ready to be lonely for a while, you know, because that's what it boils down to, you know, besides your family, you really can't have friends if they were in that same environment that you were in. You know, you can have friends that are good, clean friends. Yeah, absolutely. But if you're in that environment with people that are still doing the same thing, you're never going to get better. So, but yeah, man, I'm just, you know, try to keep moving forward every day. You know,
I love when you shared the part about that you just at that point when you're in the room solo. Yeah. And you said you felt that peace.
Well, what's funny is and I didn't touch on that, but one of the things that I you know, because it's one of those things it's that fine line, you know, when you talk about religion and stuff like that. But me, I'm not scared to talk about, you know, my faith. But I can tell you that about 3 months after I got clean, it was Labor Day, and my mom had a cookout, and we were all over there hanging out, talking. And my sister said to me, we were talking, and she was saying, "Oh, you know, I'm so proud of you. You know, you've been doing such a great job at that." May, June, July, August. Yeah, so it was about 3 months since I had gotten clean. And she was like, "I'll never forget that day when we were all in the room. We kept denying. And she's like, and we left the room. She's like, and I dropped down on my knees and I started praying. Wow. And she's like, and I was just saying, just let him get that help. You know, just let him accept it. And when I heard that, like, got chills, I started crying, because I was just like, at that same time that she's doing that, I'm literally in the room at peace, hearing something telling me, let's get yourself together. Let's take this help. So to me, that was a prayer prayer asked and a prayer answered immediately. Awesome. So that's one of those things that it's just, you know, it's I don't know, man. It was crazy for me. It was such a surreal moment for me to find that out, because I had no idea. She didn't tell me that when that was happening. You know, it wasn't until months later, and I was like, wow, that was pretty crazy. I was like,
I'm a big believer in that, man.
Absolutely.
I'm a huge believer. I when and if I have people ask me whether it's superficial or they're actually, you know, being real about it, and they say, how did you get here? And no one knows like my fiscal or anything, but just they see that I have acquired some bit of peace. I tell them, man, like my come to Jesus moment was literally me. Like, I felt that I had that. I had a very similar experience, and it comes after a tremendous amount of just sacrifice and listening and turning off all the noise. You know, it's a powerful thing. I think
that's one of the things that people don't realize is we're our own worst enemy. Our minds, especially. Mm-hmm. We can sit there and talk ourselves out of anything. We can talk ourselves into anything. And I know for me personally, that's what it was with me, was when I was having my struggles, I had more conversations with myself than I did anybody else, because I would just rationalize and go, no. And just, you know, when I thought that I should get myself together, I would talk myself out of it. And it's just like, and you're absolutely right. When you turn all that noise off and you just try to actually you just try to listen for some type of sign or something to push you in a direction that you should be going. A lot of times you'll find it. A lot of times you'll hear it. But you have to be open to it too.
Got to be open. You have to stop. I've been trying to prepare myself. I've been getting asked to go like do these little guest speaking thingies to like a small group of people or even just one person, and I get the butterflies. I'm like, what am I going to say? And like, I've been preparing to what I've learned is, and it's very short and sweet, but when you close your eyes, if you're not happy with what you are, when your eyes are closed, man, and I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But absolutely. I never wanted my eyes closed. Yeah. And I feel like in today's society, we're the society of constant stimuli.
Yeah.
We're a constant stimuli of content in our brain, phones, people, companionships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But by the time you go to close your eyes, they then substitute even that with some kind of outside substance or a noise or ambient something to shut it off, because they're doing something or looking for something that they're not happy with. And dude, I was there, everyone's there, and it still happens. This isn't like, I think it takes constant. The chief of police here said something so awesome that he learned and he implements in all of his training classes and with his daily routine is you're only as good as your last 24. Yeah. So like, even if we pound out a great day today and you had that eureka moment or you had a paramount, something, you're like, I did it. Yeah. You got another 24 tomorrow. Yeah. And it's okay, but don't worry about it. Yeah. I think it's not only biblical, but I think it's spiritual to don't worry. Yeah. Plan. Yeah. Be prepared. If there's a storm coming, get your umbrella 100%, out. Yeah. But don't worry. Yeah. But also enjoy that moment and know that if you just chill. But you got it's the general public. It just close your eyes for a minute. Yeah. And if you're not happy, figure it out. Yeah. Don't run to something.
That's one of the things too that I was actually talking to Mike Benici about this the other day. Him and I were just talking. We were talking about work and stuff like that. And one of the things, man, that like I'll say, I've known Mike for many, many years, and he'd be the first one to tell you, working there in the beginning, it was very much, it just like any business, is good cop, bad cop. Joey was the teddy bear, and so Mike had to be bad cop, but now it's like him and I were talking about this recently, and it's like he even said, since Joey had passed away, he's had no choice but to be kind of play both sides, type of thing. But even for him to say he's bad cop, he's not, because the way he handles situations is very professional, very great. But this guy, man, and it's been feeding, like I've been feeding off of it, and it's been like falling onto me. His just positivity every day is just, it's awesome. And especially to work for that, you get him, he comes in, and, we always joke around because he loves old school wrestling. We all grew up on that. So Ric Flair's his dude. Like he comes in, you just hear this.
That's his alter
ego,
you hear
this guy, woo! Like, and he loves it, man. Right. But like, you hear that and you smile, and this guy, he comes in the other day, and, one of the guys was out of town. So, he was working, he jumped right in, he was doing ovens, but just the positivity that he tries to continue to have with people, even if a situation happens that, isn't the best, to try to, a lot of things that you got to start doing nowadays is you got to stop. I feel like so many people react and they don't think about it until after, because I'm guilty of it. I've done it for so many years, especially in the restaurant, where I get overwhelmed, something happens, and I automatically boom. And then I realize it after the fact, and I try to go back and pick up the pieces, apologize, because I never want to, treat people horribly, things like that. But one of the things I used to always beat myself up over was I want to stop before it happens. Yeah, I can understand it. I can see it after it happens and then go back and apologize. That's great. That's still better than not. But I don't want to be that one who's doing it in the first place. I don't want to have to apologize. I want to be able to, react in the right way. So that's what I've been trying to do more so lately than anything. And I see and everybody's going to have their bad days. I have my bad days, but I see when you have good energy, the people around you feed off of that. And therefore it just, whether it's at the restaurant, whether it's in a business that you're in, whether it's your work, or whether it's just friends, when you have that positive attitude and that positive energy, they feed off of that, and they go, man. So now it's just try to surround myself with positive people. Obviously everybody's going to have their bad days, they're going to have rough days, but my wife and I were talking about that, and it's just, one of those things that I try to go into work every day. I try to be positive, even when I'm just out grocery shopping, just try to have good energy. And it makes for a great thing for people that you're around, but it makes for a great fuel for your soul, for yourself. Like it's one of those things that you feel good. You know, if you constantly think positive things are going to happen. And I'm a firm believer in that. It took me many years to feel that way. But you know, and obviously we're always going to have hiccups. We're always going to have speed bumps, but if you keep pushing through and you keep going, you know what, let's be positive. Like you said, you see a storm coming, let's prepare for it. Let's not just wait until it's here and then all of a sudden freak out and not know what to do. Let's go, okay, you know, I see, but and that's all it is, man. I just, you know, you just got to try to, I just am a big believer in just trying to be positive, try to have good energy, and people feed off of that, man. You know, especially nowadays, it's a scary world. You know, it is. You know, now raising a son in the world, you know, where, you know, our country's so divided, things like that, and it's just like, I don't get involved in it. I don't get involved in the politics because I just feel like it just gets people crazy. It gets people upset. And I just go, you know what? We're going to raise our son the best way we can. We're going to raise him around the values that we were raised around. And we're just going to try to be positive and give that positive energy to him. And then hopefully he can go and make a difference in the world and share that with other people. So,
well, I think on a couple of things, you hit it on a lot, but one of the things that I'm trying to implement in my own life is that, and Rogan's been talking about this too, and that is when people are using platforms like this little show, or whether it's a medium that's educating you to some capacity and not entertainment, there's a big belief right now amongst the, I don't want to say the educated, but the people that are trying to become educated. So people like even you being a part of the show and sharing your life. Yeah. I don't think here's my hope for humanity. And this goes for even your son. Yeah. I don't think the country's as divided as I think, as the book and as the media would want.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I'm hoping that people realize that you and I right now could walk from here to anywhere probably in the earth and not probably be shot at, yelled at, hit, et cetera, et cetera. Right. But the media would want you to believe that you need to be full body armor, ready to fight, rape and pillage at any given moment. And it's not. And I think it's growing. So I would say continue to execute. And I've learned this. I pray this every day. Quick with my mind, slow up my tongue. Yeah. Because as an Italian, as like you said, I also had to learn the first 5 things I usually want to do in the midst of dismay. Yeah. Is execute something probably poorly. Yeah. Whether it's something you say, there's so much power in the tongue. Yeah. You know, they used to say, "What? No, sticks and stones don't hurt my bones." Yeah. And words will never hurt me, whatever they say. Yeah, they do. And it's very personable. It's very real world. And just once again, man, I got hurt yesterday. Last night I was coming home after this day of Jubilee, had a wonderful day. And it doesn't take much for me to have a good day. I'm talking good weather, outside, riding my bicycle. Yeah. So I'm not like in a drop top F40. I'm just a simple day with some good folk. Get home and bro, I get that curveball sent to me, that speed bump, which I like how you put that. Yeah. I hit the speed bump. Well, I'm approaching the speed bump. Yeah. And of course, dude, I want to hit it 100 miles an hour and be like, F this speed bump. Yeah. And hop over it. Dude, I'm in the midst of it right now. Yeah. These people that are the speed bump are just, my point is, I'm literally hurt people. Yeah. I mean, it sounds so tacky and cliche, but it's so true. Yeah. So 100%. I'm already just trying to say, whatever you're doing, and this is business, John. Like there's something business, but hurt people. And I literally said to I was on the phone with my wife because she's out of town, and I was just saying, you know, of course I want to rage, you know, because I'm in the right too. So I'm not just saying I'm in the right, but I'm just chill because at the end of the day, none of it matters anyways. And I don't want to sound morbid and like it's Fight Club-ish.
But dude, it's so easy to do the wrong thing than it is to do the right thing. Because that's just human nature. Right. Like we're just built like that. Mm-hmm. That it's just so easy to go, let me just go crazy on this person, tell them how I feel. And then it's like at the end of the day, do you really feel good? No. Nope. Because you're going to sit at home later on that
you're
night
thinking
and
about
why the hell did I do that?
I like what you said earlier, which I've never heard anybody say it like in that context. But dude, that's probably a byproduct of also why society can be spinning out of control at times, is that when you've spun a web and you can't be candid and transparent and go grab a pizza pie or go grab a drink at a bar without like probably avoiding someone or you're living 10 different lifestyles, that constant state of anxiety. It's got to be so consuming.
But I think too, like one of the things that you had pointed out before is when you said to me about, you know, thanks for being vulnerable. I think that's one of the hardest things that people have that struggle with is being vulnerable. And I don't necessarily mean like going on a show and talking about addictions and things like that. I mean, so many people, and I think that a lot of that is society now, how society and how the news and TV and everything makes us feel like we should act.
Right.
Nowadays, it's all in, you see something on TV and they convince you should be acting like this. And I feel like when it comes to whether it's protests or whatever it is, and people start getting a certain way about something, they feel like they can't go back on that. They feel like I already got it out there. Now I got to keep doing it. Even if they change their mind, I can't look like an idiot, or I can't. And I feel like that's where the vulnerability comes in. They don't want to be vulnerable enough to say, you know what, I messed up. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize, or whatever it is. And I think that's, back in the day, a lot of that's what it was, man. Like we just, if you messed up, you admitted to it. You don't necessarily know it when you're teenagers. You don't want to admit it then, but as I get older, we get older, I sit there and I just go, if I make a mistake, sometimes I will, depending on what it is, I'll fight myself. Like, no, was I right? I think I was right. But, a lot of times it's just like, if you are wrong though, just admit it, because a lot of times that is contagious. Somebody will see it like, oh, wait a second, that person was allowed to be vulnerable. Now let me be vulnerable and tell them that this is what I did, or I apologize for, I think that comes with what society is teaching everybody nowadays. It's, people feel like they can't be wrong. People feel like they can't admit it.
You got to be cool, man.
Exactly. And that's what I think it boils down to. It's like, it's one of the things I saw like Instagram was talking about doing was like removing the likes, with amount, which I think is great, because honestly, man, like I feel like the social media, we were fortunate that we didn't have that, so there wasn't, between cyberbullying and stuff like that, man, it's scary because it's a real thing, and people really get hurt and hurt themselves from the things that they see, and they might, oh man, this person got 100 likes, I only got 50, and then they get down on themselves. Like it's just, and that's become, because I think you and I were talking about that earlier. That's something that I've seen has become a real thing in mental awareness, is that it's triggering something. You get a like, it's triggering something in your mind. These endorphins, and they're sitting there and going, and and they say it mimics a high of taking a pill or doing a drug or stuff like that. So it's like, to know that is scary. That it's like, you can become addicted to Facebook. You can become addicted to social media. And it's just, I feel like we got to change that. We got to figure out how to.
Well, I think
people got to start having more conversations like this to each other. Yeah, obviously we're streaming it, things like that. But that's also to get stories out there in a healthy way. But so many people, man, don't even know how to like pick up the phone and call somebody. It's strictly, and I'm guilty of it too.
We're all guilty.
I'm guilty of it.
Right.
The only people I really talk to by phone is my wife. We'll talk to each other when we're at work, or if I'm at work and she's off, check in on the baby, family, and that's it. But like friends and stuff, like most of the times I'm texting, and it's just like, back in our day, man, it was like you talk to somebody on the phone, it was like you picked up the, you had the long extension cord that would run into the, other rooms, so you didn't have to worry about anybody, interrupting you.
We both know quite a few people that are in this Safari single right now, and they'll confide in me and they'll say, and I'll ask them, I don't usually like names because ignorance is bliss, but whoever they're dating, I always stress the phone calls, man, the late hour phone calls, verbal talk, and it's I feel it's very important to communicate,
especially when it comes to real conversations.
Yeah,
because
you gotta talk.
So many things can be taken out of context, especially through text message and typing. It's just, when I talk to somebody, if I'm talking to somebody about something serious, I want to talk about it over the phone, because I want to hear their voice. I'd like to do it in person, so that way I can see their reaction, see their, but if not, by the phone, you can hear it in their tone. It's just, you're absolutely right.
It's super trippy on the texting topic. So I turned on my phone that I last had before Matt Robinson had passed away. And I've been ignoring this device just because I'm in a good place with it. I'm not, I was dreading turning it on. And I'm one of those guys that like cries when you watch home videos. I don't know what that is.
No, I know
not that I'm mad or anything. I'm a very sentimental person.
100%.
So if I'm watching something, even if it's old commercials, I get a little, like if it's an 80s, 90s McDonald's commercial, I'm like,
the memories.
So I've been dreading turning this phone on just because of all things 7 years ago.
Right.
So I'm going through immediately. I turn it on, and it's so dead that it won't turn on. So I got to wait. So now the anticipation is on.
Yeah.
I don't even think this thing's going to work. I wait. It turns on. It's like this, dude. I remember thinking back then it was big.
Yeah.
It's a small little like Android Motorola thing.
Yeah.
I turn it on. I'm going through the text messages immediately to Matt's. I find Matt's, and dude, it's so weird because it's a different type of texting.
Yeah.
Then texting I would imagine this applied to most, but texting wasn't like a debriefing. It was more like, call me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or like,
absolutely.
Need you, see you soon. Because there's not like our texts they're very efficient.
Yeah.
We it was like, it was just different. It was interesting. And I'm not saying it was better then than it is now. Obviously technology's gotten better. It's more fluid in the swipe.
No, yeah.
But we
well, that was when back then too, you had to, to get to you had to hit that number 3 times. Right. It's not like it was all set up on a touchscreen. Yep. Like it was literally.
But we talked. And you had Matthew and I talked every morning on the phone, and it is good to talk. It's good to talk to your family. It's good to talk to. Don't worry about that. Yeah. We're live, baby.
Yeah.
Haters hate. But it's really important, and this was so special to me because I don't. I've been getting the other spectrum of some haters are like, you don't get a lot of views and and I'm like, bro, I don't give a hoot. I don't care if there's one person that's you that you're here. You see my setup, and if it's one person watching that today's show made a wee bit better, and a lot of people can't watch in the moment. School's back, so like I get it
for sure.
But if in that hour and a half drive, or even if you listen to 10 minutes of it and it made you smile, I mean, here you got 2 dudes figuring this thing so-called life about. And I tell my friends and family and listeners constantly, I don't know what is going on. You think about it, the oldest man in general, let's give him 100. What is getting done in 100 years? Nothing. You can have your anomalies and your Teslas and those kind of peoples and your Elon Musks, but in most practicality, we're just normal people, man.
Absolutely.
Trying to live in a normal world and love on people. And it's nothing. My dad said something really nice today. He was here for his birthday, and my dad doesn't want anything for his birthday but time. So we just had a good 10-hour day, probably just chilling here on the couch, and people were in and out. Jonathan Robinson actually came on by, and he said something really nice because Jonathan, Jonathan's extremely. He asked good questions. He was like, "Happy birthday, sir. Can you teach me anything?" Like literally. And I'm like, "This is why." That's a Robinson right there.
Absolutely.
And my dad shared a few things, and one of them said, which I've never heard my dad say. He said, "Don't take life so seriously." Now that my dad's he's in his stage of life, and he's looking back. And I wish he said that when I was a little kid, but. Don't take things so seriously. And it like resonated with me. And it's something that I feel like who doesn't think that already.
Right.
But it's really good to kind of in the midst of your carfuffle. Is it really that serious? Now, granted, health, accidents, of course, tend to the situation. Don't be like, oh, the guy's dead. But I get it. But for the most part, is it really worth freaking out about? Is my speed bump last night, dude? They ain't gonna affect me negatively. It's another. If it's not that,
so those things will push you back so far.
Exactly.
And when you're moving forward at a steady pace, even when you're hitting speed bumps, as long as you keep moving forward, you're good. But once you go in reverse, it's just you lose so much of what you've accomplished already. So it's like. But yeah, man, it's the same thing. It's like as we get older, it's just one of those things that you got. What your dad said is right, though. It's even my father when my son was born. One of the things he told me, and that's what he said when I was talking to him about the work situation, how I was wanting to cut back a little bit and stuff like that. He's like, and my dad worked hard. We moved down here from Pennsylvania. I was born. Me and my brother Ryan, the one that works here in Flagler. Him and I were both born here, but my oldest brother, Bill, and my sister, Angela, were both born in Pennsylvania. That's where my family's from, and my mom and dad. And we moved down here back in the early 80s, I think like right in either the early 80s or like the late 70s, either like 78, 79 or like 80. But we moved down here because my dad had gotten a job offer with ITT. So ITT started Palm Coast, and that's why we know so many people in the town because, my dad built half of their homes or whatever it might be. But So we got down here and my dad worked his butt off, and worked really hard, but he said to me, he was like, listen, he's like, not saying don't work hard, don't work, always work hard.
Right.
We were raised around that to always work hard. All of us have been working since we were 15 years old, but he said, he's like, enjoy it. And especially now that you have a child, go to the events, do this, do that. He's like, and he's like, listen, I was there at a lot of the things that you guys did, basketball games, stuff like that. But he said to me, he's like, I wish I would have been at more of them. And, I wish I would have been able to, get more involved when it comes to stuff like that. And it was like the same concept as what your dad's saying, I think we just go through life thinking we just got to keep hustling. But you also have to make time for yourself, for your family, for your children, whoever it is. You got to have that time for yourself, man, because if we don't decompress, we're worthless to anybody, So it's like, I feel like, having that time and that's what I try to do. When my wife and I are off, we just, we try to soak it up. We try to enjoy it. It's, I've always been as far as finances goes, I'm always like the stressed one, like, oh, we got to get this pay. We got to get this pay. My wife's like, don't worry about it. Like, it's all going to, fall into place, work out. And I think I'll always be like that, but I've tried to tone it down a little bit more and just be like, let's enjoy it.
Well, that's being a provider, protector.
Yeah. Right. But also by getting too worked up in that, then all of a sudden you start, you stop enjoying it. You stop, and that's where, like I said, about like you said, it's that speed bump. You could have easily came in and been like, what the, and let it set you back, but you didn't. You said, you know what? It is what it is. It sucks. Let's move forward. And I think that's where, how we can enjoy life is by not letting the things, tragedies are always going to hit home and stuff like that. But you got to sit there and think, is this thing little or is this something serious? Is this something that really I need to put my energy into, or is this something that I can go, nah, it's not worth it because it's just going to cause me a headache or it's going to cause me stress. Let's move forward. Let's skip over that and go to something else.
I do believe Whitney Connor and I were having a chat not too long ago, and she kind of, you could say, teach me, because we were just sharing some life units, talking. Right. And she said, sometimes it's important to sit in your suck. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. There's probably a really fine line about like how
will make you stronger, but like you said, there's a fine line.
Rocky Balboa moment. Yeah. Exactly. Like grind it out. It's okay to bleed a little bit. It's okay to,
I forget which, it was one of the older ones, or one of the, I should say, newer ones now, but one of the Rockies where his son was older. It was like more recent one, like before the Creeds. And he was like, and you see it as memes all over Facebook now, but he's like, it's like a clip and he's like talking about, then that's what he says. Every time I hear it, I get motivated. I'm like, I want to go do something now, because he talks about, life is going to knock you down. And it's not about how many times you get hit, or it's not
how hard you get hit, but how many times you get up,
and keep on moving. Yeah. Exactly. And that's, dude, I hear that and I see that scene, and most of the time I see that scene, I get jacked up. I'm like, yes, but it's so true though. It's like, are you gonna let it define you, or are you gonna sit there and just keep pushing forward? So
that's what I'm doing, man. And I think it's starting to, and once again, I think there is a growing population of humans that are starting to realize that it's okay to not be an Instagram famous person. Yeah, it really is. And it's okay not it's okay to work hard. Isn't it trippy? I was talking about this to somebody. Are you okay, by the way, too?
Yeah,
I was talking about this to somebody the other day. I thought it was really trippy because I've never been someone scholastically gifted nor follow a lot of formalities. Right. I've made something out of nothing, was working at 15 to actually 14, Subway, Stephen Hobbs. Yeah. And here's my opinion right now of society when it comes to the workforce. We're bred to feel, and this is just me, so maybe I'm wrong, but here's my opinion. I feel like we're bred to believe that you work until you're 60. What's retirement? 65 on paper now?
Yeah.
Let's just say 65.
So that's when you can get like Medicare and all that.
So let's say you're supposed to work till you're 65. No ifs, ands, or buts. 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Don't look back. Work. And it hit me when I was traveling recently, and I was looking at it was one of those types of trips that, thank God, I was able to do at my age and saved up a couple shekels to do it. But most of the people around me were the 65 and older. Yeah. And I thought to myself, okay, so here I'm watching these people do what they were supposed to do. And I'm talking about more of probably the American society I was watching, the tourists. Yeah. I'm looking and I'm going, they're very not able-bodied. Right. Most of them. Yep. They are, slower.
Yeah.
They're not in very good health. One's faster than the other, the husband and wife or whatever companionship is going on. And you're watching, and I am going, okay, I can get to where I need to be. I can run if need be.
Yeah.
I can. And I thought it's weird as a society that we're bred to think work until you're pretty much 65.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying 65 is old, but it's definitely not 35.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I feel like, literally thank God that I can take 5 minutes because I don't have much. You're in my zone, and you see simple folk.
Right.
And if you need much, that's good, or if it's disposable income, even better. Yeah. But if I feel like there should be, I wish someone would have came to me when I was 19, just getting 18, and said, listen, you don't need a lot.
Yeah.
You really don't. If you want it, I still have it. You don't think I want the Enzo Ferrari? Like I need it. It's in my name, man.
Right.
But it needs to be disposable, and then the Fight Club syndrome where it doesn't own you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But when your dad and my dad are probably realizing that, do it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Save your shekels though. Work.
Yeah.
But if you don't need the 50, 60 hours. Now, if you're tending to some sheep in your business, God bless.
Yeah.
Put your time in, but make sure you do have. I've noticed that if I go through a lull, which every business does, we're like, hey, it's been quiet this week or this 2 weeks or this. Once again, prepare for the storm.
Yeah,
have a storehouse, have a couple shekels, but you know what? Utilize that time now.
Yeah.
You know, Mikey calls and says, hey, Brad, store's a little slow right now. I need you got Wednesday off too.
Yeah.
Don't freak.
Yeah.
Take that time to, even if it's just to sit down and close your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm learning still to just appreciate, because life is we've heard these, life is so precious, life is so short. It really is, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for people to talk to people that are twice your age.
Yeah.
And if you don't have someone in your life that's twice your age, find them.
Yeah.
Go to a nursing home. Go talk to somebody at Publix for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Bet they're going to want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And they will tell you, do it now.
Yeah.
And it's important. And there's a fine line between being responsible.
Yeah.
Don't neglect.
Yeah.
Don't be like, I'm doing me.
Well, I think that's one of the things too, is like, I feel like so many people's priorities is what will cause either issues, or to either have issues or not have issues. As long as your priorities are either in line or they're not in line. And that's what is going to determine what you do and how your life pans out, type of thing. Because I can tell you, man, like I make good money. My wife is a nurse. She makes good money. Like it's not, but she was also, when we first met, a server at Hooligans, and I was a, pizza guy. And, I was, at the time when I was working at Nicky's, there was a few of us, so I was only putting in 35, 40 hours a week, like not that crazy. But we still saved, and we were still able to save a good amount of money as far as, and it's not sitting here saying, oh, we got a lot of money or anything like that. But all I'm saying is you don't have to make a lot of money to have money. You don't have to make, and I think that's what so many people's problems are. If you're worth a certain amount of money and you feel like you're worth a certain amount of money and you go into a place, absolutely, I'm all for it. Go find that. But if you go into a place and you feel like I have to have this much money in my bank account, or I have to make this much money an hour, I have to make this much money a week, I feel like that's where your priorities get mixed up, because your priorities are, obviously everybody's got to make money to be able to live, it's just how it is nowadays. But if you're also making X amount of dollars an hour or a week, and you're going out 5 days a week and blowing it, but then you're going to people, man, I need to start making more money. Well, you don't have money because you're blowing it doing something else. You know what I mean? Because I was that person. I was that person that was spending it on the wrong things. And now I look and I'm like, man, I could make, pretty much minimum wage, and I could figure out a way to still make it save. And it's just that, and obviously with experience things like that over the years, like you want to make more, you want to, but I think that's where so many problems come about, is people just don't know what their priorities are. It's like my wife and I, we literally have our mortgage, our 2 car payments, and like our monthly bills, our TV, our phones, this and that. But that's it. Like we don't, her and I don't go out. Like we used to when we first started dating. Yeah, we used to go out a lot. We'd go out a couple days a week with friends, things like that. Will we still like to do that? Absolutely. We still make our time for us. but we also know what our priorities are. So we look at it as like, we'd rather save the money, go on one vacation a year, especially now that we have a son, and have a really nice vacation, have fun, and
have 2 days off a week.
Instead of having, going on 10 vacations. And it's like one of those things that it's a fine line that you walk. I don't want anybody out there listening to think that I'm saying like, oh, if you take 5 vacations a year, you shouldn't be doing that. Everybody has their own styles, lifestyles, things like that. And I'm never going to, badmouth somebody for that. But in the same light, as a person, you just need to figure out what your priorities are. And if you're making your priorities work and you're doing the right things, man, that's all for it. If you're a millionaire, great. If you're not a millionaire, if you're a middle-class person, if you're just making minimum wage, as long as you're doing well and you're happy, that's all that really matters, and it's, I think you hit that on the head when you said about, it's so many people just, it's like, I got to be a millionaire. You're not, like you said, you're not sitting there, expecting to get millions of views. If you did, great. Right. You know what I mean? But you're doing what you're doing because you're happy. I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm fortunate, I'm happy. And I just feel like that's everybody. If we could all do that, if we could all find something that we love to do and be in that, because you got to think, if you're working full time, you're working at least 40 hours a week. Don't you want that 40 hours a week to be a little happy? Like you're spending more than half of your week at work opposed to at home with your family or whatever. So you want to make the best of that. Everybody's going to have their bad days, but what you're doing, man, like I respect it. You're happy, you're, and you're not sitting there trying to say, feel bad for me or do this. Like, and what you're doing is you're getting all different types of people on here from, when Raby was on here, was it Lieutenant? Yeah, Lieutenant, Sheriff Staley, the chief of police. You get all these different people from all different, parts of, Palm Coast. Yeah, but just like all different things, a pizza guy, coffee shop owner, this or that. Somebody that you have on is going to resonate with somebody else. And isn't that what we should be doing, is just trying as corny as it sounds, make the world a better place, but that's it. And the only way we're going to do that is if we all put in our part together. You know what I mean?
Dude, well, I appreciate the kind words, because I just like anybody else, my wife knows this better than anybody. There's some times where I'm like, I don't even want to do my day today. I don't want to do it. Yeah. And it's funny because
days are just like, I want to just stay in bed. That's it, man. I don't want to do it today.
And it's funny because the grass is always greener. And for those that confide in me and tell me sometimes that they're pursuing something bigger and better, that's great. I love the word priority. That's like the word of the day for me. Is it's good to have that as a priority, but believe it or not, dude, there's this guy, I'm not going to name who he is, but there's this guy that I absolutely, he's a mentor to me and he doesn't know it.
Right.
This guy just walks the streets. Yeah. I don't want to go too in depth because he's a private guy, but whenever I see him, I pretty much beg of him to chill with me. And let's just say this guy has a couple bucks, which didn't what turned me on to begin with about him. But as we got to know each other by consequence of talking, I've learned that everyone's having bad days. And trust me, it's worse. It can always be worse. And if there's one thing that I learned from this particular gentleman is I love when he shares with me his business woebegones. Because I think I've got speed bumps. And the Biggie said it. More money, more problems. And it comes down to, at the end of the day, that's why I just keep worrying about now. What I've learned in the last 365 days more than anything, stay in your lane. 6 inches in front of your face. Chill. And what you said, it sounds so tacky, but as you get older, you're like, wait a minute, let's make my world a better place. And if you it's so easy to forget. And dude, it's so, because the world, people are grumpy.
Like you said earlier, be quick to think, slow to speak.
That's it, man.
I saw this. I read an article, and then I had heard it somewhere as well years ago. And it was like an actual study that somebody did about like money. And they interviewed, like, I want to say the whole study or the whole article I read was maybe like 10 people, but all different types. So they interviewed somebody that was making $20,000 a year, somebody that was making, I think, like 60 or 70,000 a year, somebody who was making 100,000, somebody who was making 500,000, somebody who was making 2 million, and then the other one was like 10 million, and then like 20 million. $20,000 person a year. They said, what would it take? How much money would it take for you to feel like you're rich? And he said, if I was making $50,000 a year, I would feel rich, like because of what he's making now.
Right.
$65,000, $70,000 person. What would it do to make you feel I'm sorry, they didn't say rich. They said to make you feel comfortable, like to where you could live comfortably. Exactly. Guy that was at 70 was like, if I was only making 100,000 or 20,000 more a year, I'd be happy. $100,000 or $100,000 a year person said, if I was making 250,000, I'd be good. 500,000. If I was making $1 million, goes on. He interviewed this guy that was like, I think his net worth or his like, I think it was his net worth. His net worth was like 30 something million. Never said names of anybody. And this guy was like, I mean, yeah, I got a lot of money now, but if I was at 50 million, I would be good. And it's like, so it just goes to show, man, it doesn't matter. No matter what, it's never, when it comes to money, if that's what your priority is, or if that's what you're so focused on, it's never going to be enough. Because that's just how we're built. We're never going to have enough in our own eyes, because we're always going to think of something else that we could have,
bigger boat.
whether it's exactly, a bigger boat, whatever. And it might not necessarily be materialistic things, but it's just one of those, it's a psychological thing that everybody's always going to go, I'm making this much money a year. It's good. I'm doing well. But you know what? If I was making this, I'd be happy. I wouldn't bitch. I wouldn't complain. Nothing. And then guess what? If they got that raise and they were making that, they'd be like, you know what? But if I was making this, they might not right in the beginning, but after a few years of working there, whatever. And it's just, that's just how it is now. And it's like you said, it's so true. Just because you have more money doesn't mean your life's going to be great. Doesn't mean and that's where I think that priorities things comes into, it's like, could we all make more money? Hell yeah, it'd be great, but is it going to make us happier? I can't say. I'm a firm believer it
doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of memes and there's a lot.
Because I know a lot of people who do have a lot of money and are very happy. Yeah. Generous, but it all depends on what they're doing with that money too. Because a lot of the guys that you see, or women, the ones that are generous, that are giving, trying to actually help people and do things in the world, I feel like are the ones that are happy, but it's the ones that are just constantly chasing the money are the oones who are always going to be miserable, no matter how much you make.
I think it's very, from my little exposure to being in a town where there's, 4-story houses next door to me, and you see my quaint little house, dude, what you do with a little, you're going to do with a lot.
Yeah.
And some of the people that I've gotten to know that have it, it is great.
Yeah.
It's awesome to have but it's also a very fine line with, if you're not happy without it,
right?
Those that have acquired it and were looking for that, they're not even happy still.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It takes a really rooted, noble guy or human in general to just, if you've got it, great. I'm still pursuing it. I think
100%. I'm not saying
100%.
Oh, I'm going to be content with where I'm at for the rest of my life. No, that's not
right.
But don't make that don't make that your God. Don't make that the only thing that you are worried about, because then you lose focus on the bigger picture. And that's us as humanity trying to make the world a better place. The only way you can really do that is by building relationships with people. I'm a firm believer in that. So if you're so focused on just what you need to be doing, consumed, exactly. If you're so consumed in it, you're not going to be able to see the bigger picture. Like my wife and I are very blessed, and I'm especially from where I came from 8 years ago. I'm so blessed for what my life has turned around to be. Some people aren't, and some people aren't that blessed because of not even money wise, because of, and that's not even. And when I say blessed, I'm not talking about money. I'm just saying our life in general, our health, our family. It's just, we're blessed to be able to be in a relationship where we love each other, to have a child that we love, to have family that we love. And it's one of those things that in my situation 9 years ago, if some people might not have that family, that support to go back on, to help you through those difficult times. Because if I didn't have that family, I honestly don't know where I'd be. I might either be dead, it's something scary to think about, or in jail. But God and family is what allowed me to get through it, is what's pushed me through it. And I just feel like it's just one of those things that you just go about every day now. And you're just like, you know what, man, like, it's not, like you said earlier, it's not, the stupid stuff isn't worth it. It's not, why, you see so much negativity on the news, on social media, that to see positive things happening is almost rare now. And that's scary, you know? It's like, so when you do see them, like things that I see, I'll see things on social media that they'll show. And it actually warms my heart to think about it because, you know, you'll see videos of like high schoolers, you know, who there's a kid that goes to school who has special needs or something who loves the football team and they invite him on to play with them. Like those things make me feel really good because it's like, okay, our society's not completely doomed. Like there's still those good people out there that are trying to, and those are the people that need to move forward with it and like continue to do what you're doing, man, especially when you're 16, 17 years old doing this to help people. It's like, you know, my one of my nephews is part of this like little and he's going into sixth grade, but he's like part of at his school. He's part of this like it's almost like what was it that they had in high school? The
I know what you're talking about.
The humanity thing, Greater Kids of America or whatever they called it. But it's something similar to that. And like he goes out and is like trying to figure out future problem solvers of America. That's what I was thinking of. And he's like trying to like help kids like that are like his age or younger, like be their friend and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Like that's so cool to see that like you're not consumed with oh, I gotta be cool. I gotta worry what that person thinks of me. I'm gonna do what's right. You know what I mean? So the younger we can get them to know that, the better off our society is gonna be as we pass. You know what I mean? And as we continue to get older and you know, our time has come to where it's ended that, you know, hopefully it'll, you know, continue to get better and better. So
I think it will. There's a Rogan talked about it the other day that if you are someone who's socially connected, which by product of you watching the show or listening to it, you probably are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you actually think, if you do log on to any social medium platform and think that you're going to be not inundated by negativity, you have to be ready to deal with it and not let it affect you. And I would highly recommend don't even engaging with it, because here's the deal. It's a fact at this point that algorithmically speaking, Facebook and these social media platforms are contingent on ads. Ads require viewership. What gets viewership? Negativity. Why do you think the news, since in its existence, doesn't publish things that are good? Because it doesn't stick. It's not cool. We don't care.
Exactly.
No one cares that I walked a crab across the street at A1A last night at 11:45. No one cares. If anything, the cars were pissed off. They didn't take a moment to address this. Like,
he's doing something good. Why wouldn't you just let me run it over?
You know so no one cares, and it's sad. But we are one thing that I do give a lot of. One thing that my dad had to teach me, and society in general, the word of the month last month for me was like empathy. And what I'm trying to realize now is that if we look at each other as a species, we as a species are built and networked before we're even out of the womb to be a consumer. Period. Done. It's been since the beginning of time when the first human being sold something for monetary gain versus exchange of goods became the type consumer. Period. Done. I'm posting photos for the Flagler Beach Museum recently the other day. It's crazy to see commerce happening in the 1800s. It was here. Moody was a smart man, and it was business. It wasn't friends. It was making money. We were programmed here to be consumers. In parallel with that, my heart also goes out to people that are sometimes not aware of this. I'm not expecting people to understand that they're just upset. They're mad. But like if you take a step back and you realize, oh, wait a minute. This monkey is in a room with a television set that's pumping negativity. What's he going to, exercise?
Exactly.
And in addition to that, a lot of people don't know this, because the opioid is that
opioid.
That issue and the pills in general are a big. I didn't know this till the other day, but if you educate yourself, there's one company, one man, one family that owns the opioid company. I didn't know that. So if you take a step back and realize that once you're in that, they own you, and you're not dealing with Best Buy. You're dealing with hundreds of billions of dollars with one family with interest to make sure that you stay on.
Guess what?
That.
You make their money, or you mess with their money.
That's right.
They don't like that.
So the best thing to do is sometimes take a step back, educate yourself, and where is it starting from? And then remember that when you close your eyes, if you're not happy with who you are, figure it out. That's where I stop. Because I don't know. I've had some people say to me recently, like, well, what do I do? I don't know. I'm not your God. I'm not your source. I don't know. But don't stop.
And that's why even like with us been talking earlier, like, or today, like that's what the thing that like everything that I've shared today, I'm not sitting there telling anybody else out there that's listening or watching saying you have to do it this way. This is the only way to do it. It's the right way to do it. I'm sharing my story, as you said, my experience. And this is what works for me. You know what I mean? Everybody's different. Everybody's the way that their mind works and is wired. All of us are wired differently. None of us are wired to be the same type of person. But we all have those basic instincts that we were raised, not even raised, that we were born with.
Made to do.
Exactly. And it's just all about how you, what you do with it and how you react and how you run with it is what's going to make the biggest difference. And that's why I said, I don't want anybody out there to think, oh, he's trying to say that he's this or he's that, because I'm not. Like,
no,
I made so many mistakes in my life, man. And one of the things that, you know, and I was telling Mike this the other day, we were laughing, but I told him, like, I had, I forgot where I had seen it, but I had seen it and heard it years ago, and it always stuck with me. And I use it as a saying this day, is that passion drives us. So that's why I say do something you love, because passion drives you to do anything. You know, never would I have thought 9 years ago that, even though I loved making pizza 9 years ago, never would have thought that the pizza industry would have taken me to where it is now. Like, and I'm you know, there's guys out there that are, you know, in magazines, things like that. Those are things I strive to do, but you know, I'm happy with what I'm doing and how I'm growing, because I am growing every day, especially in the industry. And it's about who you surround yourself with. But one of the things I say is passion drives anybody, and it will drive somebody to do great things as long as they believe that, and as long as they have the passion for it. But I'm also not scared to fail. And I feel like that's one of the things is so many people, when you live with, when you don't do something because you're worried you're going to fail, when you get older, you're going to regret it. And regret's like one of the worst feelings in the world, you know? And that's one of the things that I did when I first started getting clean, was regret a lot of the things I did. And I realized, like, this is like continuing to set me backwards when I should be moving forward. Like, I'm doing a great thing right now by getting my life together and this and that. If I live with regret, then I'm going to, so now I look at it like, you know what, I'm not going to, because even though it's so funny, because even though I'm an extrovert, I'm an outgoing person, I like to meet new people, things like that. Some things, you know, I in the past, I've been scared to do or to, move forward with, especially in the industry, the pizza industry, because I'm like, well, what if I don't get first place, or what if I don't, you know, succeed in it? But then I look at it and I'm like, yeah, but I also don't want to be 60 years old and be talking to my son and him say, Dad, why didn't you ever do this? Oh, because I was scared I was going to fail. Like, I don't want to live with regret like that. I'd rather fail, because I feel like failure does make you stronger. It allows you to know what you did wrong and to learn from it. I'd rather do that and know that I at least put in my effort. I put in 100%. I tried, and it just didn't work out. But I'd rather do that than, you know, when I'm 65 years old, looking at my son saying, you know what, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have, you know, really moved forward with, you know, the passion that I had and things like that. So I think that's, you know, for anybody out there that's listening and watching, just, you know, follow your dreams, man. Like, really, you know, like, it's, everybody's dreams are different. Like, you know, I never would have thought that the pizza industry would be my dream, but I'm glad it is, man. Like, I love it, you know, like, you know, my wife, she's a nurse. She loves helping people. Like, she loves being a nurse. You know, she got into it for the right reason. Some people get into it because they think they're going to make all this money, or they do this or they do that. She gets into it because she loves it. You know, I see Amy post pictures that, you know, she loves what she does. She loves being a nurse. Like, these people love what they do. And you see it in their faces, you see it in their energy. And that's what, you know, I just continue to try to do every day, is to sit there and go, you know what, man, whether we're making $10 an hour or $100 an hour, if we're happy doing what we're doing and we're trying to help other people in the process, then we're doing the right thing. So,
and like I told you, dude, there's a lot of people that are loving on you from the outside in, and it's, I know you can feel it.
Yeah.
And it's important. And, I can't tell you how much I love you so much, man.
Thanks, man.
Like I said, this is a really good, I mean, it's all started right there, bro.
Yeah,
FPC, baby.
Yeah, that's it. Only high school there was.
It's but the episodes I have when I have people come on that I've known, I mean, it's the most priceless commodity when it comes to human companionship is time. And those that are getting to know me, or those that have known me, there's just something. It's fun when you've known someone before they're where they're at, because you can pick on them a little bit and be like, I remember.
Well, because even you and I mean, I met you. You were always a year older, and a lot of you guys were a year older than me. But yeah, I mean, I met you guys when I first went to high school. So I mean, I've known you since I was a freshman in high school. So I was 14. So I've known you for 20 years. You know, so it's like, but like you said, it doesn't feel like 20 years, because I even look at it, I'm like, it doesn't feel like I've been out of school for that long, but we have. We're in that. Well, we're once again, I don't think
a 90-year-old guy does still feel like he's got it figured out. You may have a better sense of your mortality, but you really never. When do you actually go like, got it?
Right.
I mean, I still feel like a little kid that still. Doug Glasgow was over here the other day, and dude, I had this. I just thought he was I thought he was a year older than me. He was class of '99, I think, or something. So I only had one overlap, and I still feel like I'm like, bro. I feel like I exchanged like hundreds of memories with you, but it was just it's a very unique thing, but.
And even like us too, like you just said, I mean, for me, it's looking at, we can sit there and literally not, and that's where I feel like there are benefits to social media, because we can sit there and not have seen each other or hung out. You know, you and I seen each other, like I said, the last time at Publix for a split second, but haven't hung out in many, many years. But we can get together for an hour or 2 hours and it's
like where we left off.
Yeah. And that's what's so cool to me is like, that's what I love is like that. And I see that like that with everybody that comes on, who are guys that we all grew up with, and they come on and it's just like picking up where we all like, we start talking like we're 15 again, you know? And it's just like, you know, we're like, oh wait, no, we're
call
not.
Carlos, bro. We got
exactly. Where's the neon at, dude? But no, it's the truth, man. That's what's so cool is it's just like we all, you know, we all have that respect for each other and that love for each other, and you know, can get together and share memories. But go, all right, now how are we doing now? Like, what are we doing to move forward?
I've been doing it more and more.
Even Matt
Boda.
No, Donald Raby. The other day he had reached out because I had posted something and I'm not actually going to be able to make it, but I was going to be going to another competition they have every year in September.
In his hood,
but it's in Jersey. It's in Atlantic City. But he saw me post something and reached out and was like, "Yo, when you get out there, like, let me know. Like, I'll get up with you." So I don't know if he's like lives out there in that area or if he was going to be out there, because I posted the dates that it was. And he was like, or he said, when are you going to be out there? And I said, in September. So, and unfortunately, I'm not going to make it out there this year, but it's just like things like that. Like no matter what, like we all grew up together. So it's like, if we are in the same area that we can get together even for a split second, man, it's cool. You know, it's nice to have that. You know?
I've had in the last 48 hours, I've talked to Kyle Eckert, Matt Boda, Patrick Kelly.
Oh, geez.
Like it's Matt Boda today. I didn't know he was still up because I know he's 4 hours behind us, but it's just, to me, I find it warming and loving.
Yeah,
and a lot of some people, you know, we all went to that stage where like F Palm Coast.
Yeah,
you know, like,
and I was going to say that earlier. I was like, it's so funny because I say that to my wife. I was like, because she grew up here too, and it's like we all went through that stage when we were in like high school, and we were like, man, screw Palm Coast. This place sucks. There's nothing to do. There's nothing. But now we're older. I'm like, man, I love Palm Coast. Like I really do. You know, like it's I wouldn't change, you know, my decision of staying here for anything in the world, because I'm blessed. I got a beautiful wife. I got a beautiful son. You know, and we're very fortunate to be doing well, and it's just, but it feels like home, you know, and it's just home. Like you got those people that left, but even when they come back to visit, you know, you reconnect. You know, it's like Brandon will hit me up every once in a while, and he's like, dude, your pizza is this and that, but like this dude's over in other countries doing big things up in, you know, NYU now, right? You know, it's just like it's so cool. Like you and I said, man, it's like to sit there and see them. You know, I think we're all proud of each other. No matter what it is that we're doing, it's just everybody's proud of each other because we all grew up together, and we all, at some point, were hellions, and we all made our mistakes, and we made them together, and we, you know, did stupid stuff. But now we're all coming out the other side and going, all right, man, it's cool. Like we did it. You know, exactly. Like
I think it's really conducive to being this thing called life and trying to stay confident in your actions and your business, whatever you're doing. I love when I'm at like a meeting and I'm in a building that never existed, but the parking lots where like I scraped my knee once, and I'll be in this meeting, and your flesh wants to be intimidated by the scary big guys that are like, what are you going to do for me? And I'm in there and I'm just kind of like, oh my God, like there's a sense of this is my street.
The Dunkin' Donuts down right across from Taco Bell on Palm Coast Parkway, when that burnt down a couple years ago and they rebuilt. Even now, like whenever like I'll go through there for anything, I'm like, dude, this was Hardee's. Like this wasn't Dunkin' Donuts. What is this? This was Hardee's back in the day. So it's like, but it's like you said, that all goes back to that like nostalgia of like certain things, especially when you grew up here, is such a small town as it was. Certain areas you go to, or a certain song comes on. My wife knows when I'm at home and I'm cooking, I love listening to music, and I'll have, you know, Simple playing radio, things like that. And I'll hear songs come on, and I'm just like literally thinking of like a party we're at in Flagler, or at 16 and 17 years old, or I think of this, or Razzles, God, or this, or like even just like graduation. It's just so crazy how like, you know, you hear things or you're at a certain place and it just makes you feel like, okay, it's cool because you can reminisce for a second and go, you know what, I was there, now I'm here. And, you know, it's good.
I sent Michael Fetchy and Jimmy.
Fetch.
I sent, do you remember that song? Boom, boom, boom. And he'd say, "Well."
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but for the longest time, that was like our national anthem.
Yeah.
And I remember everyone who didn't have subs, you know, I didn't have a car, but Fetchy had the subs. Jimmy had, and Fetchy and I had a stint where I was like I lived in his car because he was like and that song for a hot minute, which was probably all of ours, but I sent it to them.
Well, see, even me, because I'm the same way. Like I wasn't driving like when everybody else was. Like I had my license, but I didn't have my car yet.
I didn't have a car.
So so the same thing. So I'd catch rides.
Who was was Braxton your driving
pretty
guy?
much? It was either Braxton or Eric Lemus. I would ride with. Nuno, like that was
because you guys were W section.
Because Lemus was right around the corner.
Were you driving with them to school?
No, Braxton was usually always who I'd ride with to school. Most of the
he
times,
go pick you up in the W's?
No, a couple times. No, I'm trying to think. High school.
Or did you just keep? I remember.
No, because high school, I remember I would catch rides with different people. You know who actually did a lot of the times was
he or she's very mad at you.
No, Mike. I just can't even think of that now. Not Mike Mitchell. Mike Gordon. Mike Gordon would pick me up in his Blazer. And no, the Bronco.
The Bronco.
He had like 215s in that thing. And it would blow your eardrums out.
I think he lived by me.
Yeah, I think he did too, because he lived over in the B too.
Yes.
But Mike and I were like really close friends too, so he would swing through and pick me up a lot of times for school.
So he was your like high school
rider like
guy.
A lot of the times, he'd pick me up, we'd ride to school. But yeah, man, but like as far as like after school going out, I would always, either ride with Lemus or ride with Braxton or whatever. Like but I would hitch rides with them and the same thing. Yeah. So like nowadays I'll hear songs that come on and I remember them playing in their car when we were riding to either, a house off John Anderson or
going to Deal's maybe Deal's house.
Yeah. Exactly.
I talked to Bixby the other day.
Did you?
It was his birthday. I love doing the text on the birthday versus the Facebook thing. Yeah. So I sent Bixby a text. Yeah. And Bixby and I have this. We used to, when we skipped school, we'd go fishing. Yeah. And when we would catch something, we'd like bingo bango. Yeah. So I texted him bingo bango birthday, and he literally goes, I think he's doing like big government thing in Washington. He's like, I'm literally in a meeting and I'm laughing my ass off. And I was like,
yeah, exactly.
But Bixby, I was always getting driven to school by whoever was kind enough to kind of. Yeah, Matt Robinson was a big one. Yeah. A girl, Rachel Hardy, which was a year older than me, she actually started driving me, which was awesome. But yeah, that was a big deal. If you didn't have a car, bro, I'm still indebted to those people.
Oh yeah, me too.
Jimmy was a huge.
It wasn't until my senior year that I started.
You even had a car. See, I never had a car.
I didn't have a car though. I was using my mom's car, so I was driving. She was letting me use that to go to and from school.
I was using my grandfather's car senior year, but that was a luxury.
3000 GT.
Oh yeah, baby.
I remember racing that thing around.
Getting one.
Really?
Yes.
I remember racing that around.
In the B section,
Pinella. We'd go to Pinella's house with the Celica, and oh man, those were the crazy
best,
days,
dude.
Yeah. And then when I got my Eclipse, it was just like all downhill from there because I used to just race that thing around like it was nobody's business. And
dude, I
think about it now, and I'm like, how did I not die?
How did we make it out?
Because especially then it wasn't built up as much, so we'd go down to Matanzas Woods Parkway. Before they had the bridge going to the school or anything like that, it was just dead end. So we'd go there, turn around, and then boom, there was your quarter mile. But yeah, it was.
I just talked to Tristan Southern the other day.
Okay,
and he's doing what he loves. He's a car man thing. He passed my. I don't get it, but I reached out to him for two reasons. One, he had sent me a nice little note one day. It was like, "Bro, I love your show."
Yeah.
And he may come on. Okay, he's in Orlando, but long story short, dude, totally. This would be the stupidest thing I could do right now, but every once in a while I go online to see if they have any 3000 GTs
I used to love
for
your
sale.
grandfather's car, dude. I think it was
bro,
so nice.
I don't ever usually see one that I really
want. It was
want.
the dark hunter green or something crazy like dark green. It was nice. That was a beautiful.
I never lost a race.
Twin turbo. I remember.
Never.
Yeah.
I was the bet, dude. To this day, I'm like, no, you have no idea how much I love you, but. You were crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me jump. But I did cherish that thing. So it wasn't
you definitely.
I kept that thing to the nines.
That thing was always spotless when you.
And I would never jeopardize. No, of course, in the moment of racing, that was
you're
stupid,
not thinking about
it. I found one.
Yeah.
And I talked with Tristan. I was on the phone with him like an hour because it was funny because Tristan we just caught up and then he goes, you think I could do the show? I'm like, well, first of all, yes. But he's like, I don't have anything to say. We're on the phone for an hour and a half. I'm like, we just did the show, bro.
Whole show, bro.
But he's so intelligent when it comes to, like, he told me if you do purchase an older car like that, it's not just like buying a car anymore. There's these like processes you should go through, insurance policies you need to look into, and not to mention there's this whole rhythm that you don't want a lot of miles, but you do want miles.
Well, because even me, like, it's like I still get those urges where I'm like, oh, I love my truck, but I'm like, oh, I want to get like a little race car run around in, and then I'm like, but I also now have grown to love like classic cars too, like muscle cars and stuff. And the other day I was talking to Benici because he's going to be selling. He's got a Monte Carlo, nice 350 in it, and then he's got a Mustang, like an 80-something Mustang. And he was talking about his Monte Carlo, and he was like talking about how he was probably going to be selling them soon and stuff like that. And I was like, "Yo, let me buy one of them. Let me buy the Monte Carlo." He's like, "No." He's like, "You just got a 4-month-old kid. You don't need that."
I know.
And of course, like if I said it's my wife, she'd be like, "You don't need a new car. You don't need another car at all for sure." You know. But I'm like, but it's like it's nice to dream. You know, to think back at old school times, like because I know that's my mistake. I'd get it, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, cool." You know, go run around like I'm 17 again.
Right. Well, not only the real
next thing you know, Sheriff Staley's going to be behind me, like, Brad, what the hell are you doing?
I don't even have anywhere to. I told Tristan, like, even if I got it, the adulting side of the insurance, where do you park it? I don't have a garage, so it's a carport. That's beach tax. It's done in a day, so it's not really practical. But it is fun to dream.
Yeah, it is. No, for sure.
I mean, one day I still hope to have.
Older. Like as I get older, I'd like to have
like your little Sunday
just a little
car.
Toy car. Yeah, exactly.
You feel good in it.
Yeah, but like you said, like it's like we dream. And we even talk about like, oh, I'd go racing around. And again, we'd get that thing. We'd be doing 5 miles per hour going because we'd be like, no, I can't mess up the tires. Are you kidding me? Like, back then we're just like doing burnouts. Now it's like, no, man.
We couldn't afford the tickets anymore. Yeah, you're like, wait a minute. Yeah, I talked to Jimmy about that a lot, how we made it out alive. Yeah. I feel like there was a special, it was extra angels on duty for us 100%. Because I don't think, you can't get away with what we got away with now with the video surveillances with this. No. So like now the stupidity can't be exercised. I know it's still being done. Yeah. But now you got it. There's really ramifications for it where we're drag racing in the B section at the in the cul-de-sacs that are now. I mean, think about it. It was just.
Dude, I'll never forget years ago. Nuno and I still talk about it to this day. It was just a whole group of us. The one time we went up to
Steak and Shake.
Well, yeah, we used to do that all the time. Yeah, that was
Fast and Furious, baby.
That was the spot, exactly. We'd have the cars all lined up with the fog lights on. And we were like, Fast and Furious. Because that was when that first came out. So it's like, oh, yeah, we're Vin Diesel or Paul Walker. We got this. But I remember one time, Nuno and I were talking about this, how we went up to Phantom Fireworks in St. Augustine, bought a whole bunch of fireworks, went to one of the forks in the middle of the road in the L section because there was like never houses down there yet. And we had like 30 of us, and we were just like shooting off fireworks at each other, like doing Roman candle wars and all this stuff. And, it was just like the dumbest thing possible, and it's just like, and I remember the cop showed up. And was like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, and then he's like, all right, get out of here. We go to leave. And he pulls all of us over, and he was like, go back there and clean it all up in the middle of the fork. There was just like old products. And it wasn't like we were all messed up. We just went there just because it was like something to do, It was like, but yeah, dude, it's crazy to think back all the.
There's one story I still can't believe we made it out alive, and that was Jimmy Gagliano, Bobby Keith. We're on our way. We were leaving St. Augustine, Panama Hatties or something. Or no, Reggae Sunday. Genre. Young
Sundays
idiots.
I can't even think of it now.
And we're driving home, and I'll never forget. Like a girl had texted one of them that they were trying to hook up with, and of course that was it. That was
all they cared.
Bobby literally pulled like a Fast and everybody was Fast and Furious back.
Yeah. Everybody thought they were.
Pulls this like 180 in the median of US 1. Yeah, and it worked. Yeah, but thinking back, like Jimmy and I still talking about that night. We're like, how did we just not like flip or
for sure
on purpose and then just to go back to St. Augustine? But like, of course, in the moment, Bobby always had nice cars.
Yeah.
I think we were in one of his many Ferrari things. I think it was the Nissan, the 300Z. He had that white one. Yeah. So sleek. Yeah. And we're in there. He's like, and to this day, we're like, how did we get out of these things?
But see, too, you think about it then compared to now, like then Palm Coast, there wasn't anything.
There wasn't like 18 cars.
There wasn't. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like scary when you see it. Yeah. I just saw something on the news the other day, a couple months back. A poor woman got killed on Nova. 2 guys were in it, and somebody caught it on their dash cam. But right on Nova, right by the trails in the Publix, they were flying in like a Camaro and another car, racing in the middle of the day, like traffic everywhere. Lady was pulling out. Poor lady was pulling out of Publix, and they slammed into her, and she ended up getting killed. And the one guy took off, the other guy got arrested. And
it is cool for Cocoa Puffs out here now. It is busy.
Yeah, you know, and it's just like, man, you gotta. And I know it's goes as like a hypocritical, you know, but it was like we learned our lesson type of thing. Like, and we're fortunate that we didn't hurt anybody or ourselves, but yeah, man, you can't
I taught myself how to drive a motorcycle in the L section, B section. Jimmy lived in the L's, I was in the B's, and there's that road. I don't know what road it is, but it connects like the L's to US 1.
Oh,
that road was like you could take a nap on there. I learned how to like and there's no way you could do that now.
No,
I don't even know if there really is any dead areas and like maybe the Z's.
So I
don't even know.
There's so many houses out there now.
There's a lot of people, which is good for us though.
Yeah,
I'm supporting the growth.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what it's. You know, obviously my livelihood is contingent on people spending money on their businesses and marketing, etc. And you're feeding these people, and it's good. So I'm excited where we're headed, and I have fallen in love all over again with our home.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I think all of us were guilty as FPC alumni that it was like, F this town and F this place. Remember Flagless Scumbags? Remember that saying? Like, we won't go to Flagless Scumbag. All that. And like the minute you all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, good schools. Good crime rate, all the stuff that adults start to wait a minute, close to the beach, affordable,
and the stuff that the sheriff's office is doing nowadays.
They're killing it.
Yeah, which
I love it.
Thankful for. You know what I mean?
I got a lot of haters for that though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Like, what do you have with him? I'm like, bro, kidding me?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
At the end of the day, man was shot 3 times and is saving our community once. Like, just chill.
Yeah, my dad's been good friends with him for many years.
I think he's great. I really enjoyed him. Him and Chief Downey is. Awesome people. But anyway, even if you don't like it, they're still their life is in jeopardy every day, dude.
Yeah, and they're the ones keeping us safe.
Don't get grumpy.
Exactly.
But, bro, we did it.
Yeah, man.
Could do this all day with you.
Glad you had me on, man.
What I'm gonna do, I didn't do this before, but I'm gonna tag your Instagram, which is dope.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which you did need.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's definitely a girl. I mean, I believe Instagram is still like it's a pretty girl zony thingy. You know, like unless you have a product, there's what are we doing as dudes? Like I don't really know what to really post on my my product is.
Yeah, like I said, for my Instagram, I literally use it strictly. I mean, I'll post pictures of like my wife and my son, like when we're doing stuff, but you know, it's mainly like pizza. You know,
But I'm gonna tag that.
Yeah.
And then I tagged your personal Facebook page, and no joke, I hope we had. I've had a lot of people that say you need to like answer questions and this, but I think it would be
it keeps it personal.
For anyone that did listen and you are dealing with some kind of addiction or know someone with it, and you want to talk to a real dude that's been through it, I mean, holler at my boy.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I mean, and I love you for being. When you first reached out to me, it was just good to hear from you. But when you said, "Can I come on?" and I was like, and then you said, "I got a story."
Yeah,
you know, and I was like, "Dude, you want to go there with it?"
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Go there.
I'm not gonna hesitate, you know.
So mad proud of you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Love you so much, bud.
Gotta stop in Joe's one day when I'm.
I know I'm guilty, dude. I'm so guilty of going into and Beniche knows too.
Tuesday
it looks beautiful in there.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he redid it last year.
When I see photos, I'm
phenomenal.
Like,
it's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, he really he didn't mess around, dude. He pretty much gutted that entire restaurant and just redid it, and it's gorgeous. We got a little bar in there now, and it's. I'm proud of
him. Him and everyone that's hustling their own restaurant. Luge Rise, the Eckers. I know the guys at Turtle Shack and all. Dude, it's so amazing when you see people putting their soul into something
for sure,
and paying some bills.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. Gotta do what you love, man. Positivity goes a long way.
And Terranovas.
Yeah, and
let's keep this pizza battle going.
Yeah, Mikey, keep it going, bud. You and
I should
keep everybody going crazy on their diets.
You're keeping the
when you're in Benel, stop at Terranovas. When you're in Palm Coast, stop at Joe's. You know, straight up. But yeah, I mean, like I said, man, there's a lot of great pizza places in Palm Coast, a lot of great restaurants, and
there's 7 days in the week too.
Exactly.
So you can fit them all.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So.
All right, man. I love you, buddy.
Love you too, man. Good seeing you. Appreciate it.
See if we got. See if you. Oh, dude, you were good luck. We didn't get kicked off. Bam. See, this got, which thank God we didn't lose this. Come on, huh? Man, I love you, buddy.
Yeah, man.